Listen, just touching on some real issues right here tonight, that's all.
That's all.
I want y'all to observe the excellence here. BX providing the sonics, my man, Minnesota. I'm letting the beat ride out because it's a part that I like when it come up, you know what I'm saying? I take this time to say what's up to my family. You hear that? You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Just observe the excellence of that. That's many.
Stay back. Fall back.
With the guitars. It's hip-hop music. It's good enough to speak for itself. And you gotta do right by it. Minnesota. Ain't no black people in Minnesota.
Starting in January, most working Minnesotans without access to paid family and medical leave will get it. That means partial pay for extended time off to welcome a baby or care for a sick family member. A state agency is racing to get the program ready. Dana Ferguson reports.
Evan Rowe knows precisely how much time there is until January 1st. On a file cabinet behind his desk, red digital numbers are ticking down.
It just quietly counts down in bright red numbers. Well, we're really excited.
No, he's not just excited for the new year. It's the due date for the major project he's in charge of. Rowe is deputy commissioner at the Department of Employment and Economic Development, and it's his job to help get the state's paid family and medical leave program ready for takeoff.
I figured it would be helpful to have an ever-present reminder over my shoulder when I'm in the office.
Back in 2023, state lawmakers established the program that allows workers to take leave to care for themselves or a sick family member, bond with a new baby, or recover from trauma. Behind the scenes, the Office of Paid Family and Medical Leave is working toward a seamless rollout.
It's hiring, it's building out policies and procedures to make sure that folks will be able to count on the program when they need it. It's building out, it's doing a ton of technology work so that people can have tools to apply for benefits, or employers can review who's out on leave from their teams.
In essence, Rowe says,
it's big.
All around the office, there are signs of a hurried pace. Office chairs ring a conference room table with their sales tags still on. The most senior staff members have been at it a couple years. Some are just days into their jobs. Next on the hiring list, legal analysts and program adjudicators, the sort of judges who decide whether someone is eligible to take paid leave or not. Rose said the program is like growing a tree. There's a strong trunk and
now you're seeing more branches and leaves get filled out. There are still more branches and leaves to fill out.
Program directors have been on the road for months hosting information sessions. Those will continue as business owners and workers begin applying for paid leave and preparing for when it's tapped. Businesses can now submit information about internal paid leave plans. Those that already offer coverage that meets or exceeds the state baseline can get exemptions from the government-managed program. There's also a way for workers considering leave to enter salary information on a digital calculator to see how it would play out. The program isn't designed to replace a person's full wage. Greg Norfleet is the program's director. He demonstrates how to apply for leave. The example here is named Megan.
So starting off with Megan, here is working code of how this application works.
Norfleet helped launch a Massachusetts paid leave program. He described the fields workers must complete to apply, like their employment, hours, and reason for taking leave. Time off can amount to weeks or even months, or something more sporadic. Norfleet says Minnesota has the benefit of learning from other states that have paid leave programs already. It'll be among a few that allow early applications.
We're one of only a handful of states that's going to allow an applicant to apply in advance of the child being born.
He says that can provide parents or patients some peace of mind. They can focus on a birth or medical treatment rather than paperwork. Already, the office has fielded hundreds of questions. Kay Kunitz, the program's chief strategy officer, says there's one she hears a lot.
If you have a baby in 2025, you can take leave in 2026. So that's a fun one to answer because the answer is yes. Okay. As long as it's within a year of the child's birth.
Kunitz says the office will keep trying to answer that question, and many others, as the countdown ticks down to that January launch. Dana Ferguson, NPR News, St. Paul.
Earlier today, LA County firefighter Dennis Vineyard was shot and killed battling a blaze at a suspected Compton drug den. We're at the Vineyard home right now, and Lieutenant Vineyard's oldest son, Derek, has agreed to talk with us for a moment. Derek, if you could come down here, please, for just a second. Look, I know this is tough, but how do you feel right now?
How do you think I feel? I think it's typical.
Typical how?
Well, this country's becoming a haven for criminals, so what do you expect? You know, decent, hardworking Americans like my dad are getting rubbed out by social parasites.
Parasites?
Blacks, browns, yellow, whatever.
I don't understand. You're saying that you think maybe your father's murder was race-related?
Yeah, it's race-related. Every problem in this country is race-related, not just crime. It's like immigration, AIDS, welfare. Those are problems in the black community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community. They're not white problems.
Derek, aren't those really issues that deal more with poverty?
No, no. They're not products of their environments either. That's crap. Minorities don't give two shits about this country. They come here to exploit it, not to embrace it.
What does this have to do?
Millions of white European Americans came here and flourished, within a generation. So what the fuck is the matter with these people? They have to go around shooting at firemen.
What does this have to do with the murder of your father?
Because my father was murdered doing his job. Putting out a fire in a fucking nigger neighborhood he shouldn't have even given a shit about. He got shot by a fucking drug dealer who probably still collects a welfare check.
At the height of wildfire season, thousands of firefighters regularly face a host of dangers on the front lines. That includes confronting toxic smoke, sometimes with little to no protection. And a new report says the effects can be dire. Stephanie Tsai has our look.
For years, the Forest Service has fought against efforts to better protect firefighters from toxic smoke, resisting recommendations to provide masks. That's according to a new investigation from the New York Times. As wildfire seasons grow longer and more intense, the health of wildland firefighters is under renewed focus. Hannah Dreyer reported this story for the New York Times and joins me now. Hannah, thank you so much for joining the NewsHour. So I understand you spoke to more than 250 firefighters for this report. You were on the fire lines, and many of these firefighters you highlighted in the piece had major health issues. So tell us, what kinds of patterns and similarities did you see among their illnesses and their links to wildfire smoke?
So I was shocked to find out that tens of thousands of wildfire fighters go out for weeks and months at a time in toxic smoke with no protection, no masks. And like you say, what I found is that many of them are getting very sick. So I'm talking about otherwise healthy people who are developing rare cancers in their 20s. These men are dying of cancer in their 30s. They're being told by doctors in their 30s that they have ground glass nodules in their lungs, that their lung tissue is dying. And some of the people I spoke to are being told in their 40s that they now need double lung transplants. And this is all illnesses associated with smoke.
Of course, it's always hard to prove cause and effect when it comes to these health issues, but there were a lot of studies that you looked at that showed the links between toxic smoke and certain cancers. You also reported, Hannah, that the Forest Service does not only not provide respiratory masks to these firefighters, they aren't allowed to wear masks on the fire line. Why is that?
That's right. I mean, any other kind of firefighter, it would be unthinkable that they would go into a burning building without that, mask and compressed air tank that we all know so well. But for these guys who are out fighting wildfires, they are not supposed to wear masks. They're told not to wear masks, even if they want to go and buy their own. And the Forest Service, which employs most of the wildfire firefighters, says that that's because they worry about heat stress. They worry that if these guys had masks on, they might get heat stroke. But in other countries, wildland firefighters now do wear masks, and there have not been upticks in heat stroke at all. We have internal documents where the Forest Service is saying if these people wore masks, they might be less productive. They might not work. They might work only 80% as hard as they're working now. And people who have worked in the agency say that that's part of what is actually going on here. We also talk to people who spent years at the agency, and they say that if the Forest Service were to allow firefighters to wear masks, it would mean admitting that smoke is dangerous. And that could cause a huge rethinking of the whole way the agency works right now. It could be very expensive. They could have to take lots of other steps to protect these guys from smoke exposure and ultimately hire more crews and spend more money.
And we know with our own reporting here at PBS that firefighters and the Forest Service in particular are already really short-staffed among wildland firefighters. But, you spoke to firefighters for this piece. I've spoken to firefighters who simply don't like wearing them. They describe them as hot and cumbersome. The types of masks that you've just described urban firefighters wearing, really, really difficult in wildfire conditions. And then there's the culture of not wearing them. So even if they were to change the guidance, even if they were to provide masks, did you get a sense that it would make a difference?
There is a cultural resistance to masks, absolutely. This is a pretty macho culture. It's a culture where people are trying to prove how tough they are and how they're not going to let down their teammates when they're out on a fire. But what we've seen in other countries that now hand out these masks is that culture can change pretty quickly. And nobody's talking about wearing a mask, 16 hours a day. People put these masks on when it's smoky, take them off when it's not. They can take them off when they're doing very physical work. But what I saw spending time on the fire lines is that a lot of what they're doing is actually standing right next to a fire in the worst smoke conditions, just watching the fire, making sure it doesn't jump the fire line. And that's exactly when people are wearing these masks in other places.
Part of the problem is also the lack of long-term data on the health impacts of wildfire smoke on the entire firefighter population. Is that what has to also change, and how likely is that to change under the current federal government?
It's a really tough thing. I mean, there's decades of studies that show that wildfire smoke in general can be harmful to your health, is associated with cancer, with lung damage, but there are very few studies looking specifically at wildfire firefighters. And part of that, again, goes back to what's been going on at the Forest Service. They've been told for 25 years to start that kind of study. This work actually did get started in 2023. The federal government launched a cohort study of firefighters. Unfortunately, in the first months of the Trump administration, all of the people doing that work were laid off. Some of them have now been brought back, but they say that the work really remains disrupted.
That is Hannah Dreyer with the New York Times joining us. Hannah, thank you.
Thank you.
And it was hot. It was so hot. It was like 95, 100 degrees in the shade. The wind never blew.
And they say that New Orleans has humidity down there, which kind of cools us off. That's bullshit. It was death heat.
Inside the convention center, it was so stifling hot, people tried to stay outside.
Hot as hell, 100-something degrees.
It's hot.
It was very, very hot at that time. It was 97, 98 degrees.
It was hot.
The heat radiating off of the highway at night was intensely hot.
It's hot as hell.
That was the worst summer. I mean, that heat was ridiculous.
Man, hot as heck in here.
It was beyond Africa heat. If Africa heat was anything like that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, they keep saying go back to Africa. Hell no.
This is The Pulse, stories about the people and places at the heart of health and science. I'm Mike and Scott. Maria Franco Espinosa is a farm worker from Brawley, California. She's in her 60s and she's tended to all kinds of crops.
Look, I have worked with onions, garlic, broccoli, carrots, figs, peppers, dates, cilantro, parsley, all of that.
It's hard work, physically demanding.
It's just constantly standing and moving your hands, so your back hurts a lot, being bent over and everything.
Maria says one of the most challenging crops to harvest is bell peppers. As she picks them, she collects them into big buckets. Picture something that looks like a garbage can that she hauls around on her shoulders.
We carry these giant buckets, and so taking them back and forth over a long distance to empty them, it's very tiring, and the sun is blazing.
The heat can be punishing. Workers wear long sleeves and hats to protect themselves from the sun. Maria says they wet small pieces of cloth and put them on their heads just to get some relief. She remembers a time working on a bell pepper farm when the heat became just too much. 6 hours into her shift that day, she started to feel nauseous.
I had to sit in the shade for a while and I felt like throwing up. Those are symptoms of heat stress.
Entonces, sí me fui un rato a sentar y cuando me sentí más aliviada.
So I went to sit down for a while until I felt better, and I drank some electrolytes and everything, but I didn't want to stop working.
She says she only took a 20-minute break before getting up and getting back to work.
Solo que dije, pues tengo que.
I just said, well, I have to work. I don't want to give up. I also didn't want to be laid off or not be able to come back to work. If the supervisors see that someone doesn't perform well or that they don't feel well, they say, no, don't come back tomorrow because I'm afraid you'll get sick.
Farm work has always been hard, but now farmers and people tending to crops and livestock face a host of new challenges, like increasing temperatures. Summers are getting hotter, which means more farm workers are working through longer, hotter harvest seasons. And researchers are gaining new insights into the impact of that heat on workers' health. Bruce Heel has this story.
It's late June, and even though it's 7 o'clock in the evening, it's still a sweltering 99 degrees in southern New Jersey. I'm in a car with Emma Cortez. She's a global emergency medicine fellow at Brown University.
A lot of it's used for blueberries. There's over 80 blueberry farms in Atlanta County. So it's very, very rural out here, long roads. But either cut.
Emma founded the Migrant Health Collaborative of South Jersey. It's a nonprofit that works to boost healthcare access for the state's migrant farm workers. Tonight was supposed to be one of their health screening events, but Emma canceled it because it's so hot. She was worried about health risk for her volunteers. Instead, we're on our way to drop off hygiene kits at several migrant worker camps. Even with the AC at full blast, we're covered in sweat as we drive toward Hamilton, New Jersey. Scattered across this farmland and forest are communities of migrant workers living in housing provided by the farm owners. The housing conditions vary by farm, and each community is different, with workers typically coming from Central American countries and Haiti. The first camp we visit is made up of 2 rows of trailer-like housing. What were the kind of stuff you have in, like toothbrushes or toothpaste?
Yeah, we just have, some, just like bandanas, things like that. I always just tell them, like, we have, tenemos regalitos or something,
The workers at the first 2 camps we visited did not want to speak with me. But finally, at the last camp, this one home to men from Mexico, someone opens up. The crew leader, Jose Eduardo Sandoval Herrera, told me he has been coming to the U.S. to work on farms for the past 12 years. He usually comes here for 6 months at a time. This season, he's packing blueberries in a warehouse. It has air conditioning, but not enough to completely stave off the heat.
El clima cerca ahorita del calor, pues sí está un poco.
Yes, the heat is a bit strong, right? And sometimes you feel like you're suffocating because the sun is so strong.
Jose says it's been so hot lately that just a couple of days ago, a worker from Haiti had to be taken to the hospital for heat stroke. And unfortunately, the workers at this camp don't get a break from the heat when temperatures soar like this. The men's current housing is similar to the first camp, 2 rows of trailer-like units, but unlike the other site, these homes don't have any air conditioning.
We would like the housing where we live to have air conditioning. This has become a big problem.
Jose says that's starting to take a toll on their work.
You go into the kitchen, you're hot. You go into the house, you're hot. You're outside, you're hot all over the place. So if there's no equipment to keep the houses cool, well, obviously you're not going to perform at work. Why? Because you can't even sleep. You won't rest well. And the next day, even your strength is gone because of the heat.
Jose tells me that after their shift today, he went to a Walmart with some of the other workers to buy fans. According to federal data, agricultural workers in the U.S. are 35 times more likely to die from heat-related stress than people working in any other job. And as climate change drives temperatures higher, the risk grows. Cecilia Sorensen is a professor of emergency medicine and environmental health sciences at Columbia University. Early on in her training, she noticed that when the temperatures outside started to climb, visits to the emergency room also rose.
And it really sort of resonated with me that, we have our health really dependent on the health of the environment.
Cecilia calls herself a climate doctor, someone who is trying to understand the links between the environment and human health. something she says was not taught at all when she first started medical school. Now she leads the Global Consortium on Climate and Health Education at Columbia. She says our bodies have a mechanism to respond to high temperatures.
You start heating up and your body tries to cool itself. You try to sweat, you breathe more quickly, all the blood goes to your skin and you try to cool off.
But if you can't cool off fast enough, your body will start feeling symptoms like dehydration, or when our core body temperature climbs too far outside the normal range of 98.6 degrees, it can lead to serious organ dysfunction and damage.
And as a result of that, people then can start getting very confused. You can start getting chest pain. And then you start going into this cycle of heat illness, which can ultimately be deadly.
Nicolás López Galvez is an assistant professor at the School of Public Health at San Diego State University. His research includes the impact of heat on one specific organ.
The kidney can directly be affected by heat stress through many mechanisms, right? Like one is like the lack of hydration, because the kidneys are our filtration system.
Nicolás has been researching a mysterious rise in chronic kidney disease among farm workers. He says there's an epidemic of chronic kidney disease among young farm workers in particularly warm countries close to the equator, like Nicaragua and Guatemala in Central America and Sri Lanka in Asia. Researchers have hypothesized that this epidemic is driven by extreme heat and possibly exposure to pesticides. In 2019, Nicolás conducted a study on farm workers in the northwestern Mexican state of Sonora.
We wanted to understand on a healthy, quote-unquote, population, most of these were young farm workers, understand if their kidney was affected or the kidney function declined through the time they were working in these farms.
The study enrolled 101 migrant farm workers, many coming from southern Mexico and Central America, and who were not familiar with the region's dry climate that regularly reaches over 100 degrees in the summer.
Some people maybe were not acclimatized to that environment and immediately are asked to work in really dry, hot environments.
They worked from March through July, primarily harvesting grape crops. The study also enrolled 50 office workers in the region as a control group. The researchers kept close tabs on all the workers and collected various data points like blood and urine samples to monitor the workers' kidney function.
And we did find out that it was definitely declining.
By July, one farm worker developed kidney disease, 2 others suffered from what is known as an acute kidney injury, or the sudden short-term loss of kidney function, and 14 were at risk of developing a kidney injury. The people working inside an office saw no significant changes in kidney function. These days, Nicolás is conducting similar studies in the U.S., specifically in California's Imperial Valley, near the U.S.-Mexico border. He is involved in 2 major research projects. One mapping rural heat islands and their impact on farm workers. The other study focuses on ways to protect workers. They're testing everything from training and adjusting work shifts to providing workers with cooler clothes and AC units for their homes. Omar Sanchez Garcia, a 35-year-old from Avenal, California, has only been working on farms for about a year now. But he told me he's already felt sick due to the heat, even to the point of vomiting. When we talked in early June, he was working at a peach farm. He says his workday typically starts at 6:30 in the morning and ends by 2:30 in the afternoon. But the heat really starts to kick in by 10 a.m.
You don't perform your job as well. You slow down. And the bosses want you to keep going faster and faster, but you can't.
He says that even despite experiencing symptoms of heat-related illness like dizziness, fatigue, and blurred vision, many workers try to power through.
They don't want to say anything and act like tough guys until they end up getting a heat stroke.
Researchers are trying to come up with real-time solutions for farm workers like Omar. Matt Spark from the University of California, Santa Cruz, has developed an app called Camposano. The name means healthy field in Spanish. The app pulls together state data on things like temperature, air quality, and pesticide use.
So our project has been, first of all, to map where these problems intersect on the ground and create a map app that community health workers and farm workers can use themselves to see what those problems look like specifically in their own place of everyday life and where they work.
The app also provides links to resources for farm workers and allows them to report any climate-related risk or workplace violations. Clusters of reports are also displayed on the app, and these reports are sent to relevant state agencies. Matt and his students also work with community health workers, called promotoras, to provide trainings on how to use the app. Right now, only 7 states in the U.S. have statewide regulations that protect workers from extreme heat: California, Colorado, Maryland, Minnesota, Oregon, Nevada, and Washington. Federal regulations were proposed last year, but are still up for debate. So for now, many farm workers try to stay as safe as they can in a world that keeps getting hotter.
Thousands of federal jobs and positions have been cut since February as the Trump administration seeks to downsize the role and scope of the federal government. One Philadelphia native and Tourette syndrome advocate who lost his job earlier this year now worries about what the future of employment opportunities will look like for all people with disabilities if federal involvement is weaker. WHYY's Nicole Leonard has more.
Adam Fishbein was offered a job as a policy advisor in the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy in 2021, right after graduating from college. It felt like a dream come true.
When I got that job, I was elated. I was over the moon.
For many years, getting this kind of job offer had seemed perhaps more like a pipe dream for Fishbein. He began to exhibit some concerning behaviors as a child, especially in school. He'd hide under desks or make sudden sounds, like barking. His teachers recommended he get tested for developmental and behavioral conditions. At 6 years old, he was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, a neurological disorder characterized by uncontrolled repetitive movements or unwanted sounds and verbal outbursts, known as tics or tic attacks. With the diagnosis in hand, Fishbein was able to get support and accommodations at school for his disability.
Sometimes it looked like extended time on tests or a separate room for testing so I could focus better and tick. Sometimes it meant being able to take a break because I needed to tick.
Tourette syndrome is misunderstood by many people and often becomes the butt of jokes. As he got older, Fishbein became a Tourette syndrome youth ambassador to help educate others in his community. But his parents, Rachel Ezekiel Fishbein and Joel Fishbein, still worried about his college options, career opportunities, and long-term independence.
There were times when we didn't know what his future would look like, and that was really scary. And we had family support, and we were able to get him what he needs. But you think that's not the way this might have ended up.
It was an especially happy moment when their son was accepted to American University in Washington, D.C., where he continued to advocate for himself and spread awareness about Tourette syndrome. He studied politics, policy, and law, already knowing that he wanted to help other people who lived with disabilities.
I wanted to speak or advocate for those who could or would not speak for themselves.
That goal came into reach when he got the job at the Department of Labor. He joined a team working to increase employment opportunities for people with disabilities and to make sure existing programs were well funded and working correctly. It felt like a perfect match for his experience and skills.
I thought I would be there for my whole career. I really did. And maybe that was naive.
In February, the initiative known as the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, ordered federal agencies to make staffing cuts. The move aligned with the Trump administration's goal of shrinking the size and scope of the federal government. Fishbein ended up taking a voluntary deferred resignation in April. It meant that he had to stop working at the job he loved so much, but would get full pay and benefits through September 30th. He says it didn't feel like much of a choice.
They were encouraging us to take the deferred resignation offer, and I took it because I frankly couldn't afford to let it play out and potentially be unemployed with no safety net.
Over the last couple months, he's applied to hundreds of jobs, but gotten very few interviews. If he can't find new employment, he worries that he'll have to move back to his parents' home in Philadelphia and leave the life he's built in D.C.
I volunteer in my community. I volunteer for a dog rescue. I'm in an a cappella group. I have a girlfriend who I would have to move away from. And, it's a scary prospect.
He also worries about how employment opportunities for people with all disabilities could be affected if there are fewer people in the federal government enforcing discrimination protections and fair hiring practices. But he tries to stay optimistic.
I'm hoping that state and local governments will pick up the slack. And I'm also seeing a lot of advocacy a lot of organizations that are, doing really good work to kind of fill those gaps.
Fishbein also hopes that corporations and for-profit businesses will keep investing in people with disabilities and in underserved communities, even with less federal oversight. Nicole Leonard, WHYY News.
This was a place I wanted to retire. I was very excited about being here in Marin County, and I don't have that excitement anymore.
Dietrick Burks is an entrepreneur looking to sell floating homes in Marin County. He says he didn't have any issues with permits or selling his first home in 2019 when he had a white business partner. But in a lawsuit filed against Marin County on Tuesday, Burks alleges once the community discovered Burks was black, he ran into problems with selling his 2 other floating homes.
I was just shocked. I couldn't believe that in today's society, in the world that we live in today, that I was actually faced with having to deal with that.
The lawsuit alleges residents of Waldo Point Harbor petitioned the Board of Supervisors to stop Burks. The lawsuit also claims that Marin County's chief building official, William Kelly, quote, intercepted the plans and collaborated with the Board of Supervisors to change the county municipal code to target Burks' projects.
It was only when he was doing the other ones by himself that he encountered essentially these issues.
Burks' lawyers claim he faced regulations that didn't exist in the municipal code, such as inspections before moving the floating homes to Marin County.
That had not been a requirement. That was specifically a gatekeeping requirement, and a gate that was only used to prevent him from entering into the Sausalito Marina.
In February 2024, the Board of Supervisors did vote to tighten regulations governing floating homes. In a statement to ABC 7 News, the County of Marin says it has not yet been served with the lawsuit, but that, quote, once received, we will carefully review it and respond through the legal process. The county's building policies are applied uniformly and are not motivated by race. Burke says once whistleblowers within the building department raised red flags about the obstacles he was facing, the permits were finally approved.
There were several people in that county government that said I was being held to a different standard.
Burks did sell the homes, but his lawyers say he lost money due to the delays and is seeking compensation as part of the lawsuit.
Black entrepreneurs. See there? See there? Talk about that on a regular basis. Don't think just because you went in business for yourself. Oh, man. Whitey isn't going to boss me anymore on the job. No way, buddy. You are mistaken, and this is one for sure. I love this quote from Neely Fuller Jr. White people can show you better than I can tell you. Ain't that right, Dietrick Burks? Dietrick Burks think I'm going to be a realtor, because I've heard that one a lot. I'm going to go out here and flip these houses, boy. I'm going to be slanging rooftops, boy. You ain't seen nobody sell a house like Leroy. Okay. Now, you already know when they go to do the appraising for the house and all that, they don't say Leroy's house is not worth the same as a white man, white woman, white LGBTQ. Hey, a white boy with Tourette's got a house. It's going to be worth more than your own, black boy. Talk about neurodiversity. We got any black entrepreneurs? Maybe you are a Negro realtor. Slanging houses, condos, rentals. Let us know. How has racism, white supremacy impacted you? Because they said my privileged black male Dietrick Burks out here slanging houses. Said, man, even when I did sell the house, I'd have lost money, all this old rigmarole, they scheming and sabotaging and trying to get old Mr. Burks, privileged black male. Mr. Burks said, when I had a white partner, boring. We have all this. Once the white partner ain't with me, oh, we got a solo Negro here in California. This is in California, too. They say, ain't no racism in California. Ain't no water either, but ain't no niggers and racism. Well, they got niggers. They just don't have no racism. They got KDOT. They just don't have no racism, see? Context of White Supremacy. Worthless Negro from Virginia, Gus T. Renegade, in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the global system of white supremacy. Today's date, Thursday, August 21, 2025. So I have been told. Our weekly broadcast, Neutralizing Workplace Racism, not for spectators. Do we have entrepreneurs, Negro entrepreneurs, anywhere in the known universe? Non-white entrepreneurs anywhere in the known universe? Do we have any non-white entrepreneurs? You have a white partner in your business. Hey, Gus T, I can do story time. I'm going to do story time too much, but I do try to, share personal experiences from the workplace, because I've gone through a lot of the same abuse that you all talk about on a regular basis. I can say, Gus T, I love talk about the comedy club when I worked there. So I worked in Atlanta, ATL, one of the worst work environments ever. Negro owned and operated comedy club. There was only one white employee out of all the waitresses, bartenders, managers, whomever else you want to, security personnel, everybody else who worked there, phone personnel, everybody else that you can think of who would work at a business, comedy club type business. There was only one person classified as white in a black-owned comedy club. On paper, that one white person owned the club. System of white supremacy, put it in all capital letters. Now, I do say on paper, so the person who wink, wink for real put all this money down, classified as black. But I mean, hey, on paper, when they go for the license and it's serious and, you got to go and business license and liquor license and all that, the person who legally is on the paperwork is classified as white. The only white person who was employed at the club. I can tell you many stories from, this is the only white person who works here, but he is more powerful than basically every Negro who works here. I can tell you one that matches what they said with Mr. Burke, where he said when Mr. Burks, B-U-R-K-S, in Marin, California, when he had a white partner in his realty business, they didn't have no issues. I guess they assumed that the white man was in charge. Maybe Mr. Burks was the custodian or whatever. He comes in to vacuum and clean the windows up for the houses. Everything was fine. White man disappears. Oh, privileged black male. At the comedy club, particularly on the weekends, coming up, we about to run into a holiday weekend and all that is woo. ATL, we got millions of dark people here. What we do? If it's going to be a big event, maybe Chris Rock come and insult everybody. Got 15 new jokes about Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith. They say we don't get black brothers, sisters, put them at the window because black people love seeing other black people put their favorite Dr. King outfit on because it's Atlanta, Give a peach theme, right, because it's on Peachtree. They say, get the only white person who works for this Negro comedy club. Boom, you put him in the front desk. Since I didn't put his name on it, Dave, since I put his name on it? Dave is a drug addict. Dave is known to do all sorts of narcotics. Dave is nodding off literally in the ticket booth. Talk about neurodivergency. Dave, tell him, I got narcolepsy. No, Dave, crackhead fiend. Narcolepsy. You can't even spell narcolepsy. But drug addict, white man, nodding off, whatever the case may be, find chicken bones in the cash register. What is going on, Dave? Stop doing drugs. Stop putting chicken wings in the cash register. Dave, what are you doing? He's white. They put white drug addict, white Dave in the front window. Why? Not because he's so professional. Not because he wears a suit. Not because he doesn't take no lip from a nigger. Because he's white. And that's what they told me verbatim. Because he's white. And when black people, all the black boys and girls, T.I.'s cousins and Andre 3000's cousins, when they come through here, when they see this white man, drug addict, chicken bones in the register, whatever it is, when they see this white man, they behave. Plantation training kicks in. Fireworks, General Robert E. Lee in Atlanta, Stone Mountain, it all kicks in. They behave. They don't do no arguing, grappling, sass-mouthing about the ticket prices, rules, nothing. They pay for their ticket, shut up, sit down. Which is what we want. Move on with the show. When we put a melanated person up there, whoa, we got to argue about everything, ticket prices and what the rules are, and you see my identification. You don't put your hands on my. No. You got to spend 15 minutes per person just brawling and arguing when we put a white man up there, but he's putting chicken bones in the register. He's white. Let's get the bones out the register when we cash out. They don't do none of that arguing. Whew. That's something to think about if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Do I have a white person that I can chum up with? We run into trouble. I got something. Hey. Now we do got a white man in this business. Now I might even need to pretend to say this is the white man's business. This is the white woman's business. I might need to do that. Hillary Clinton is affiliated with this organization. Behave yourself. Make me call Hillary. You might have to do that as a black entrepreneur in the system of white supremacy racism. That's why Fuller said for years, you and the lemonade stand, you and the tennis shoe shack, you and the chicken wing shack, all of it tossed off the slave ship in the system of white supremacy. Even you and your realty business, yes, tossed off the slave ship. Ask Mr. Burks. Privileged black male. Not for spectators. So if we got black entrepreneurs, let us know. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Not for spectators, especially if you have figured out some tips that are helpful for black entrepreneurs and or folks who are still working for whitey, directly, indirectly. Few thoughts on some of the audio segments that we heard at the beginning. Besides Mr. Burks in California, they were talking about paid time off for family medical leave in the state of Minnesota, racially restricted region. They do not have lots of black people in Minnesota. George Floyd, not even with us anymore. But it was interesting when they were talking about who gets to decide whom is eligible for this paid time off. And that's when I said, ooh. You know, Mr. Floyd's cousins and relatives, they will not be frequently in the decision-making capacity to make these decisions. And this can become important if you have to take time off. We're talking pregnancy, or someone in your family gets sick, or you get sick, you need to take time, or even just mental health days. Does this get approved or no? And you get paid time off, so it doesn't have to be a crushing financial absence. If you're taking care of someone, or if it's pregnancy related, illness related, or what have you, it doesn't have to be so burdensome. You can still have income coming in to take care of yourself and do whatever you need to do to lend a hand to someone in need. But again, like I said, they said everyone doesn't have access to this, and it would have to be approved by someone. Non-white people consistently on the plantation, we're having to go to white people to get everything authorized. Therein lies the problem. Replace white supremacy with justice. We heard the report about the firefighters not having personal protective equipment, where they don't have masks, and they have all these goofy reasonings for why you can't have a mask, and you won't work as hard, and you'll only work at 80% capacity, and all this would seem to me to be nonsense, because they were saying even if you purchase your own mask, if you say you all are cheapskates like the folks during the Rona, and you just don't want to purchase us protective equipment to battle these blazes, and you just generate all kinds of excuses and what have you, and even tell us that we can't go out and buy our own personal protective equipment to keep ourselves safe. What in the world? And then reports with folks getting all of these bizarre, I don't even know what to say if that's correct, bizarre injuries where they've got powderized glass in their lungs, and you're going to need a lung transplant and all this. Like, could that have been mitigated by me wearing a mask, even if I bought one of my own? What is all this? I don't wear no mask. You don't tell me wear no mask. I don't do my, like, what in the world? What in the world? Now, they even said within that report, which also reminds me of the Rona, because you had Bolsonaro down in Brazil and President Trump too. I'm tough. I'm a man. I'm not scared of no Rona. I'm tough. I'm a white man, right? They said at the firefighters, I guess, they said it's a macho culture, and I had to pause right there. They didn't let no Opalaka 3. It's not like retired firefighter came on here and has told us for all these years that his grandpa and his great-grandpa and his dad, I'm being a patriarchal sexist, and his mom and grandmama, that they all worked on the fire department and they just passed that on down for generations. That's not what we got at all. That they welcomed him with open arms and come on in here, Opalaka 3. We just love us some South Florida black boys to come on in the fire department. That's not what we got at all. So if it is a macho culture, whatever that means, it is a white male macho culture. Dare I say a racist white male macho culture. Same thing we saw with the Rona. I'm not wearing no, man. I'm tough, and I don't care about no mask and all this old nonsense. Ignorant. Maybe some of that could be changed if we get away from all this. It's only white people on the fire department. You start putting some non-white people on there. Hey, I don't see nothing wrong with putting a mask on. I keep my lungs, see? I like my lungs. I got 2 of them, see? They work nice, too. Hopefully I can keep them a long time. Lung transplant, woo, that sounds expensive. Maybe even painful. I want to avoid that if I can. I ain't got no problem wearing a mask. You know what's real manly? Breathing. I don't want to be the George Floyd. I don't want to be Eric Garner. I can breathe. See there? See? Ready for my yoga class. I put the mask on. Come on. Let's see. The heat. So we got heat 2 different ways with the firefighters, because there's going to be more fires. Talking about that right now. Southern California, they got extreme wildfire risk again because of all the extreme temperatures. But they said across the U.S., lots of places with extreme heat events. I get my 206 brag again. The current temperature in Seattle, Washington, 5:51 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. It is 74 degrees Fahrenheit and dropping. That is not exactly extreme heat. Exactly 3 degrees below our average temperature this time of year. Dare I say a tad cool for Seattle. But for those of you elsewhere in the extreme heat, I've said for some time, it seems like we're having more of these types of events, especially extreme heat. That right there might be your counter-racism and really looking to save your life and maintain health and well-being in the workplace. hey, you might have to speak up. Some of the suggestions that we heard in that report, maybe we have to take a break. Maybe we have to rearrange the work schedule. Maybe we have to see if we can get cold watermelon, ice water, something. But it can't just be business as usual, and people are dropping, falling off like flies. Some of the folks that they talked to in that report going out here and doing agricultural work, I even had two there because one, man, for the folks and its victims, guaranteed qualified. When people start talking about people who are not born in this part of the world, victims of racism start talking about specifically people who are not born, non-white people, not born in this part of the world, and they come over here and mess around, and they don't like black people who are born in this part of the world, or they don't, do anything to fight against racism or what have you. These are non-white people coming over here to pick strawberries, blueberries, bell peppers, and all the rest of it. When you hearing folks saying that, man, I thought I was about to pass out and die. I took 20 minutes off, but I was scared to take more time off than that, even if I did have a heat stroke, because I thought I might get fired. You cannot tell me someone in that position, they are in charge, and they are at the center of all of people classified as black who were born in this part of the world. They are at the center of all of our problems. Are you out of your flipping mind? Some of us are, so sometimes the answer is yes. Okay, well, these folks in the lettuce patch about to have a heat stroke, they are not the problem, nor is Dr. Umar. The problem remains white people. About to have a heat stroke. That right there. That's why you have all this lying and, so-called Latinos. What we gonna do? Doge, Trump, Elon, somebody. What we gonna do? They hopping the fence. Gomez. What we gonna do? Now, what we gonna do if we ain't gonna get these strawberries? We really gonna be in trouble. ICE get too nutty. Like, whoa, we got bell peppers that need to be picked now. Wait a minute. Let Pedro get a few more of these strawberries before we, get to snatching and locking folks up for Alligator Island. Wait a minute now. Alligator Alcatraz, my fault. See, they like that. And in fact, exactly what you heard in that report, they like having non-white people victims of racism in that sort of pitiful, because that's what that is, pitiful, vulnerable position. I know it's hot out here. I know you about to die. Literally, heat kills. I know you about to die. And I know we don't have no ice water, but you don't get up and get the rest of them strawberries off the vine. Don't bother coming in tomorrow. I guess I'll get back up and pick me a few more strawberries. And I can tell you, we just picked blueberries. Folks that don't have no experience doing no picking, we literally just picked blueberries right here in Washington State. It was not 90 degrees. It was not no extreme heat. What did I just tell you? It was 74 degrees. I think it might. I'm going to give you two. I'm going to say it was 76 degrees. You want me? I'll give you three. I'm going to say it was 77, even though I don't think it was 77 degrees. But I'm going to say it was 77 degrees and sunny. Boy, you would have thought the Florida cracker was out there. Man, complaining and grousing. It's hot. I don't want to. I can't do it. My hands, my feet. We didn't even pick all day long. We didn't have no, white person over to that. You better pick 80 pounds of these blue. These branches better be naked when I come back. We ain't even have nothing. We were listening to music. They had wild speakers and having a grand old time. Pick at your leisure. Take a break if you need to. Go get some water if you want. Grand old. I think some of our victims picked about 20 minutes. I'm done. I don't want to pick no more. I'm done. You can go to the grocery. They got blueberries at the grocery store. I'm done. You go out and pick all day long during extreme heat with the threat of losing your job. Now see how fun it is to pick them blueberries. Anyway, I picked. I told y'all I picked almost 4 pounds. I told boy I was. Now, if it had been over 80, I'd have sounded like them folks over there. I had to go sit down, brother. It was hot. I don't do that hot like that. Let's see. The Adam Fishbein, spell it A-D-A-M. Fish, B-E-I-N, 27 years old, classified as a white man. Neurodiversity. Talking about Mr. Fishbein, got the Tourette syndrome. Told you that neurodiversity. Didn't we hear about some of that? The young lady who writes in talks about some of the lame race soldiers, right-wing Ashley and the rest of them. Jeff Dahmer's biggest fangirl. They got the same thing. We neurodiversity. We don't need to hire Leroy and Lakeisha. We don't want that. But we can have diversity. In addition to having our queer and lesbian whites, we'll have a few white people like Mr. Fishbein who have Tourette syndrome. We don't need Leroy. We have Mr. Fishbein. We're diverse. Mr. Fishbein said, oh no, they letting go of our disability positions. Oh no, I'm a white man. I got a life. I got a dog. Did you hear that? He said, I go and work at the dog shelter. And then the picture that they put up of Mr. Fishbein, so you really get to the Yorugu spirit of it all. They put old Mr. Fishbein up there, and he got his canine, Nigrud, canine, Romulus and Remus style. He said, I got a whole life here. You see me with a dog. They didn't put him up with his girlfriend, presumably white. Maybe she's neurodivergent too. They didn't do that. They put him up with the dog. Supposed to feel that I might lose out on my dog and everything. What is the world coming to for a neurodivergent white man? Even if Mr. Fishbein has to move from Washington, D.C. back to Philadelphia, Chocolate City, even if he has to move back to Philadelphia, I think he will be okay. Even with Tourette syndrome, I think he will just be getting transferred. I don't think he's going to be out under a park bench wearing a raggedy Jalen Hurts jersey, bumming quarters, and stale cheesesteak sandwiches. I don't think that's going to be the case for Mr. Fishbein. Probably be right there in D.C. chilling, gentrifying your southeast D.C. neighborhood. 202. Let's see. And then, did you hear? They slipped that in. They said, hey, Mr. Fishbein is here working to ensure fair hiring practices without discrimination. Again, now, we don't mean making sure that Leroy, Lakeisha could get a job. Like, no. We mean neurodiverse white people. That's what we mean, talking about diversity. Any other time, they wouldn't even want to hear nothing about no diversity. But, this just means neurodivergent white people suspected racist. Oh, well, yes. Come on in, Tourette syndrome, Mr. Fishbein. Come on in. Put you up front, in fact. Brag about you as one of our best employees. Leroy in the basement, or furloughed. And then we didn't hear Leroy, we heard Dietrick Burks, alleged the racial discrimination in Marin County home sales. He's a realtor. This is in California, and that's it. They said he had a white partner. I've heard this a bunch with businesses all over the world. They had a report in so-called China, exact same thing, where you had non-white people who owned the business, and they literally advertised to see if they could hire a white person. I don't even think they had to do anything other than be classified as white. No particular skill or anything. Speak the language, none of that. Just show up. I don't even remember if they said you had to be punctual. Just classified as white. Show up with your white classification and just be present so we can pretend that you either own the company or a CEO or involved, or you at least hang out with us on a daily basis in this office. And hey, that right there, give us a few extra points in our portfolio. Come on. Mr. Burks said, matter of fact, once they found out, want no white ghost partner or nothing like that. It's just this nigger here trying to sell houses. Oh my Lord. We need to change every rule in the book. Niggas ain't supposed to be selling houses in California or really no place else. You should be homeless and under what I just said. You should be homeless under a bridge, wearing a used Jalen Hurts jersey, bumming old cheesesteaks and nickels. That's supposed to be Mr. Burke, not out here selling houses. And how did you even get to California? You should be on a slave ship or in prison or something. You and Tukey Williams, in fact. Selling houses. How did you even get a white man to work with you? They should find him too. Get him in trouble. Breaking the white collar, helping niggers sell houses. You crazy? He did leave, so I guess he came to his senses. But I mean, really, got all this rolling to begin with. Black entrepreneurs, one more time, that does not excuse you from the system of white supremacy in the area of labor. Not by a long shot. Not in your best dream. You're out of your mind. Which is kind of rampant system of white supremacy. If we have entrepreneurs, Negro, non-white, regardless of what your business, let us know. How has racism, white supremacy impacted your entrepreneurial pursuit? And then what adjustments, codification have you made to try to neutralize things like this where you, dang, look like white people are trying to put me out of business, which happens all the time. Might even be changing the rules to put me out of business. Happens all the time. Let us know if this has happened to you, and or even better, let us know how you have maybe successfully manipulated all of this, at least for a time being. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate, a white business partner. He said once the community discovered Mr. Burks was black. Now that's one I would ask, even if I was, if he's the plaintiff, if I was the defendant, if I was the attorney, I would want to know. So they weren't aware that you were Negro, Mr. Burks? You had been doing all this work for all this time with you and your secret white partner, and they didn't know you were Negro? How did you come to this conclusion? You've been passing, you tricked them the whole time. You just sent the white man out to be the front man for the whole business for whole this time. So they just, just seeing two names and just a white face, two names and a white face. So they just assume it's everybody white for the company. I'd have a lot of questions about how did you, come to this conclusion that they were unaware that you were a Negro up until this point. And then once they found that out, they went to town on you. Maybe you have to keep up with this one. Again, this was Dietrick, not Derek, Dietrick, D-I-E-T-R-I-C-K, Burks, B-U-R-K-S, and this is from Marin County, California. I think that's like closer to San Francisco type area. Wine country, I think it was probably even more, if I'm correct, if that's wine country. Like, oh my God, you aren't supposed to be out here anyway. This kind of like racially restricted region. Like, man, beat it. Get to Compton or something. Anyway, let's see. Folks who dialed in, if they have commentary to share, and if we have any black entrepreneurs, let's see. Victim should be with us.
May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Gus, for taking my call, and greetings to all the cows, listeners, and callers. First, by adding to what you said before about breathing, I do remember Mr. Fuller saying a lot, what's better than breathing? Yeah. I guess I get to the one of the clips you played, the firefighter clip. And about the smoke inhalation or the harm that's caused by inhaling all that smoke for a long period of time. I was really confused when listening to the reporter because I couldn't comprehend that she said they don't give them masks because it will reduce their productivity. And I was like, where's the correlation in that? Wouldn't someone work better if they could breathe better? I don't know. Maybe not. Then the report started saying that they are not hiring, I guess, more firefighters, or it's just too much money to hire more firefighters for certain reasons. And I remember also during the COVID protocols that they were deemed essential workers. So from then until now, did that change? Just a question. Also, one of the firefighters said that they have to watch, or certain firefighters are standing next to smoke or fire, trying to determine which way it's going to go and whatnot. It's the era we live in. We have robotic cars that drive you around, and little robots that bring you meals, and not to mention drones and whatnot. Couldn't we think of a better way to monitor fires without having to put people in harm's way? I heard we had satellites. Maybe we should use them for that. I don't know. The reporter, the report about the heat advisory, we get a lot of those out here in California. I would just advise all the non-white people to prepare themselves the best way that they can, I guess by, stocking up on water now, drinking more water before you go out, choosing to wear certain clothing that help with air ventilation, or staying in with air conditioning, or going to air conditioned places. But yeah, that's what I advise non-white people to do. I will say a little bit about my previous work location. I believe I said in this program a little while back that I got promoted and left my last plantation. The previous white supervisor, the white woman with the red hair, blue vein, and she wore Yeezys all the time, she did the most tackiest, trashiest, terroristic thing ever. My last week working for her, she eliminated my telework schedule, so I had to come into the office every day. And as I said before, that's like an hour drive each way to get to that location, so additional hardship put on me. I think the reason why she did that is because I was leaving so soon. I only started working for her 8 months ago, and the position that I was in is a year-long probation. So I think she was kind of insulted that I was leaving already, promoting already. Before I left that location, I had put in some ergonomic orders to help with me doing the job, a keyboard, a mouse, and a mouse pad. And when I left, it was delivered to that location. I was contacted by another coworker saying that it was here and I could come pick it up. But like I said, that's like an hour out of the way from where I'm going, so I asked that worker deliver them or send them to me. They said sure, it was not a problem. It wasn't an extra hardship on them. But after I got the ergonomic equipment in my new location, I got contacted on my personal device by the supervisor. And she was telling me, that equipment belongs here. I have to return it. So I contacted our health and safety department and asked them, well, this equipment is like designated for me, and do I have to return it? And they said, no, you don't have to return it. That equipment's been ordered for you specifically, and you don't have to return it. It's fine. And they contacted her and let her know that. Yeah, so it's just, the tackiness and terroristic nature of the worst white women. And also, I think this is also heard, asking other employees who still work in that department to contact me with like tasks and to-do lists for different things over there on my new email, which is another thing that's odd because I had to change emails for this new position. So they're seeking me out just to, further annoy me with this. But that's all I have for now, Gus, and thanks for taking my call.
Much obliged. Victim tripled. I guess with the technology for the fires, I think people are working on technology to do just what you were discussing, where it can alert. There might be, a fire hazard of some sort, or where it's traveling, wind, all of that. I think I heard reports of that nature the last time they were having wildfires in California, but I'm sure they're still developing all that. As for your own situation, he said the race soldier white woman, she eliminated his telework schedule, so he's got to do this massive commute, go into work. Lots of non-white people end up being on commutes of that nature, just massive. Even some of that is the kicking non-white people out of the so-called inner city areas, putting them back out in the suburbs where white people used to be, so that non-white people can have those, long drives, expensive, all that gas, and or sitting in traffic, depending on where you happen to be. Time and energy. And lots of people, even beyond that, talked about from COVID-19, when lots of people, even a few non-white people, were allowed to work from home, not having to be directly in contact with all of those race soldiers. The commute, all that, for sure. Gas, for sure. Maybe you get better sleep. You have more time so you can cook or be around your children, be there when they get home. All this long list of benefits. And some people were more productive because they didn't have to work directly around all these racist white people coming to annoy them, sabotage them, interrupt them, all of the above. Lots of benefits. And then, too, you can be a little bit more comfortable, wear your footies all day long, all that. Race, and we've had lots of non-white people, victims of racism, who reported that exactly. Non-white person work from home, or they get a 4-day work schedule, and what? Do what? You get a 3-day work day weekend every week? What? You just at home, feet comfortable, sleeping in? Oh, we tons of that. Hate it. And then this nigger boy is gonna get promoted. Say, you haven't even been here long enough to get. Who do you think you are? I'm gonna show you what type of nigga you. Now, how about this? Being here now, sitting at home wearing footies and thinking you some type of slick nigger, and I'm gonna get my promotion. Being here every day. Now, how about that? Now, vindictive. Lots of that. Don't even have no, reasoning, justification per se. And then we've heard that before too. Just, I don't like my boys and gals to be, and I like to see my boys and gals. Make sure they behave, see. I don't know what you up to at home. Heard that before. And even where they aren't even equal in enforcing the policy, where they do all that cracking the whip and make you come in if you're not white, but the people classified as white. Huh. Maybe would have been it. You'd have still been wearing your footies, I suspect. Chilling. No big deal. Any hoodles. Sorry for the commute, sir, but that all to be expected in the workplace for sure. Even something Mr. Fuller encouraged us to think about, because dang, if you start that job and even you started in the summertime and you got an hour commute, now we're headed into the winter, depending on where you live at. Like, oh man, we don't have to say snow, it could just be ice, or sometimes even the threat of snow can be enough. Maybe it's an hour commute, maybe it's 2 hours. Always lots to think about, and race soldiers love to waste our time and energy. We got that one in the archives, where Mr. Fuller says sometimes They'll know that in advance. When I give you the job, I'm going to hire you in June. When we get to January, it always snows in January. I know you're going to be late. Either you're on public transportation or you don't have no SUV. All that snow come down and everything else. You're not prepared for all that. So maybe you make it into work. Maybe you don't. I'm going to bet that you don't. You're going to be late at least 2 times because it's going to snow twice, and we got you. Meaning we can fire you if we want to, because you didn't even come in that time. I came in, the rest of your coworkers, we all came in, and you sitting at home with your footies on and drinking hot chocolate. You made more work for us when it was cold out here. We braved the ice and frigid conditions, and you let us down, Leroy. We need dependable people. That's what they'll say. Any hoodles, much obliged. Victim. Star 61, other folks. Black entrepreneurs, let us know if they sabotage you, like Mr. Burks. Do you have a white partner where you can trick them, make them think, hey, this is not Leroy's Chicken Shack. This is Fad's Rotisserie Chicken. And then once they leave, you put the signs back and say, it is Leroy's Chicken Shack. Do we have any of that? Anybody? White partner that they in business with? Let's see. Folks who dialed in, hand up, line should be open.
Greetings, everyone.
Can I be heard? Go ahead, firefighter.
Greetings, everyone. I have been hearing. I heard the report about the fire service and the dangers of breathing. Inhaling smoke. It is highly, highly dangerous. That is true. I came on first to say that I was specifically a urban firefighter. I would do all I could to avoid fighting a fire in the forest. One would think that you would be there with a fire hose, but you actually, for the most part, would have a broom and a shovel. Yes, it would be to your best interest to have a self-contained breathing apparatus. That's the more accurate term of what it's called, that apparatus with the tank that you put on your face. The issue is that the equipment is burdensome. It's kind of heavy, especially after it being on you for hours in 80 to 90 degrees weather. When I first got on, it wasn't used a whole lot in grass fires. That's what we call grass fire, because in Miami-Dade County, they have forest. They have a forest area, but it's not in the shape of places like California and some of these other places I see with hills and mountains and that sort of thing. Is more or less a flat ground. There is a area that's called the Everglades. That's where most of the grass fires take place down here. In the area it's called the Everglades, where Miami-Dade County get its water from, its fresh water from. It's from the Everglades. But I noticed when I first got on, these guys, I don't think there's no job that is more of the practice of males bragging about how tough they are than the fire department. I don't think second place would even be close as far as that concerned. But what started happening as those guys started retiring, you would hear stories about, they wouldn't live past 50 in a lot of cases, 50, 60, from different cancers, that sort of thing. And that kind of alerted the younger version because they weren't even putting on self-contained breathing apparatuses in enclosed buildings like houses and buildings. In a lot of cases, they weren't even putting on self-contained breathing apparatuses in those areas, so it's bound to take an effect. There are a lot of diseases, sickness of different types that wasn't around as much as it started becoming when I got on. All different types of things on the fire trucks itself. You would only have about one pair of gloves, but pretty soon after about being on for about 5 to 10 years, we were wearing gloves on everything because of the gloves and also masks, and in some cases putting on full bunker gear. I mentioned in some cases going into some of these homes is very dangerous as far as what you can pick up as far as a disease or some type by going inside somebody's home, let alone talk about a fire. The fire truck would not go into the woods, of course. If you can think about a truck, it's not going to be able to handle the soil, different things that it would run into. So basically what the state of Florida has, they have a wildfire service. I forgot what it was called, but they would have their little tractors and of the equipment, and we would call them, and we would just kind of like back them up as far as fighting a fire that is considered to be a large one. Also, fire rescue would have their helicopters attach on a device that can get water and go over the site where the fire exists and put out fires in that particular style. You've seen it on the news and on movies and whatnot with these helicopters. And South Florida has plenty of water. But you really have to protect your breathing system because pretty soon you will start having problems if you do not protect your ability to breathe. I put it that way, and you won't live too much longer if you are able to retire. And that's one of the main, that and heart attacks is two of the main things that firefighters die of, that don't die in the fire itself, while on duty, but afterwards it's the different chemicals that lie within smoke that basically would take that person out. And so safety, once again, safety is very important. I'm pretty sure they wasn't saying it a whole lot when I got on, talking about it, but I'm pretty sure they talk about it a lot and warn the firefighters, and not only just warn them, make them wear equipment. But it's probably not as much as far as fighting wildfires. All of the other types of fires, they of course they're going to make them put that on. But as far as wildfires, it's probably not as much. It's probably maybe left up to whoever's in charge on that call, that sort of thing, because there's many ways that one can avoid it by being behind the smoke, instead of smoke blowing into your face. If you stay behind it, that sort of thing, because that equipment is pretty heavy. It is pretty heavy, and you would not be able to stand there and operate for a long time with all of that equipment on, especially in South Florida or California. I would imagine California would be just as bad. And that's basically it on my thoughts on that. Once again, it's a safety issue. It's a vital safety issue. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Much obliged. Not surprised. The Opalaka 3 to recount his shiftlessness, to tell us, I don't do no forest fire. I get retired firefighter out here with no shovel or broom. Like, oh Lord, just give me the hose. I'm an urban firefighter. I don't do the forest. I don't do the shovel, the backhoe, already heavy. Got all the equipment. I did not sign up to shovel. The change, or even before I get to the change, he said, I guess he did see some of that, and it would have to, because he didn't tell me, you up here lying, Gus T. Grandpa was on the fire department. We didn't hear that. So these white people, the macho and the white men, the macho-ness, and I'm tough, and then tough and all that, and then they're gone at 50, 60. Different cancers and all the rest of it. Hey, ain't nothing better than breathing. And breathing for a long time. Not breathing for 20 years and then, nope, breathing for a long time. Thankfully, I think he did say, it seems that has changed. Hey, they got more dark people. Opalaka 3, they didn't just get one. More dark people. Now we got a little bit better safety concerns. I would like to breathe. I already got enough things and white people trying to choke me, like we don't need to add the fire to it, or the smoke, or whatever else we got to be. They said that out in Los Angeles earlier this year. You got all that, cars were catching on fire, and asbestos, lead, God knows what else, and then you got to inhale all that. Come on. Even the folks who are not fighting fires got to inhale all that. Come on. Safety. I think he said now he thinks they would probably tell you, because things have changed. Thank goodness. Still learning. See, that whoa, that ain't cool. We ain't trying to be macho. You want to keep your lungs. Put your mask on. Hey, that was probably the case on construction sites. At some time you didn't have to wear a helmet and other safety regulations. Now, hey, put your helmet on. Brain computer is important. Put that helmet on. Know better, you can do better. That's right. Safety first. Talk about that all the time. And even it might be that way with the heat. I keep saying for some places, because they, are saying climate change, it might be at a certain point, it's okay. We got new rules for the heat. We don't work, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. or something like that. People outdoors, especially mandatory, shaded areas for parking and all that stuff. All that stuff will just be mandated because people die in the heat, and they're just looking back like, wow, that's crazy. They used to have people out passing out and fainting, working at, noon and doing all that old crazy. That's crazy. It might be that sort of thing. Like, wow, they used to work construction sites and not wear a helmet. Crazy. Let's see. Bay Area mommy should be with us as well in California. In Marin County, is that wine country? That's pretty close to the Bay Area, Marin County.
Marin, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's what is that? Marin County. Yes, it's a bridge that you go over. I think if I'm coming from Richmond, it would be like the 37, but it's a bridge that gets you over to that county. Yes.
Right on. Much obliged.
Thank you. Greetings to you all. Thank you for taking my call. I don't get to catch all the commentary at 5 because I have the children until 6. So I'm just going to ramble about myself. So as I stated maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm out of school. It seems like a lot of our children have a lot of trauma that is being diagnosed as a disability, and they want a lot of the children on IEPs, the ones with trauma-based issues. We're not equipped to deal with what we have, but we're doing it anyway. We were told that we will not get any more paras for our school, and our school is from TK to 8 because we have enough, but it's not enough because we need one for the little guy that they have in the tech room that they created a room for. The gentleman, I think he's like 140 pounds. He'll be 9 years old on Monday. He hasn't been to school in a couple of days because he's under the weather. I don't know if he has a cold, but I know he has to take albuterol because there's so much pressure on his lungs, the weight, and his heart. We have a lot of different people working with him. I ended up jumping in on his changing routine, so I was thrown in to do the changing. Because I guess I'm the only one aside of salary-based employees that don't even work there all day. Say, for instance, a case manager. There might be another person, but I'm the only one that's trained to toilet. I have to use my RBT skills a lot of times, and they don't have RBTs. They only have paras and instructional aids, and then, of course, the teachers, case managers, that kind of thing, but they need the skill of an RBT. They have a BCBA that has to deal with both schools, the middle and the lower, the elementary school, and go to the high school. And there's another one of their schools that she has to do. But there's nobody that deals with behavior on site. And I'm only a para, but they have to use the rest of my skill to get the job done because just a para is not going to get the job complete. For instance, with the gentleman, the little young man, I'm only there maybe 30 minutes here, another 30 minutes there, so maybe an hour altogether, and it's split up in one of those 30-minute blocks, as I stated. I'm changing him. His mom said, she didn't say it to me, but she said if he does not want to be changed, it's fine. That's on him. He can sit in his whatever it is. She doesn't want him pushed. She wants him comfortable. So she's not necessarily concerned with education or him being able to do anything. She just wants him content. He wants him to have fun. So that's why he has the 5 iPads and endless headsets so he can have fun and just be content. She's also heavy as well. She's a lot more easier on him. When I say easy, I just mean she allows him to just be him. He can have whatever he wants. He can eat whatever he wants. It's heartbreaking, actually, because I'm just concerned about his health. And I don't have to be because it's not my child, but I am. So, and his heart, he was breathing so hard on Tuesday when he was there. He was breathing so hard on Tuesday when he was there. I was hoping he didn't have an asthma attack. I had to call the office to give him a pump of his albuterol. And it looked like the person who was administering the albuterol does not know how to give him the albuterol because it didn't look like he was getting enough of the 2 pumps. So now we, the parents, will be the ones administering this albuterol versus the lady who's the attendance lady that was giving it to him before. And I don't even think we know what we're doing. I do, but I'm just talking about the rest of the week because I shouldn't even have to give him the pump. So we got that going on. The little child that bit me is the little child that shares that room. He's the one they call it his office. He's inside of the room where this young man is. He's already noticed that we've pimped out the room just for this little boy because he's been in there for 2 years, so he knows the difference. He's like, oh, you done did this, you got this. He hears his iPad all day. And he just comes out to watch the little boy on his stuff, watch how everybody's it's at least 3 adults in this boy's face in the morning, including his mom talking about him and just all this boy's 8 years old. He's already got headphones on, and he's engaged with something else. And then the case manager, his mom was there, so I don't know if we were trying to impress mom or what, but I'm just looking at the little boy because you already got enough people in his face. So the case manager asked me, oh, could you go sit and play with him? I'm going to go sit down because I want to see what he has. But I don't understand what we're playing. His ears are covered with his headphones. He's watching something through his headphones, and he has these cards. What they do is they take still shots of the videos and movies that he likes to watch. There's like hundreds of laminated pictures that he puts together per the order of the scene. And he just goes back and forth with these cards. Wheels on the Bus, some Mickey Mouse stuff. And then when he's in his feelings, he'll go to particular videos, emotional Mickey Mouse video clips and car crashing and rocks, just abrasive things on the videos, and he'll keep watching it over and over, and then they're rubbing on him, trying to calm him down, and nobody's reading any paperwork for him because they say the paperwork is outdated. Whatever school he went to closed in June, so I can just imagine how he was treated or not treated at the school because who's putting in work at a place that you're not going to be working at? So he's just existing as far as he has to be changed, like I said. So I'm between me and the BCBA, we're the ones really doing the changing. Sometimes the case manager has to do it. One time the mom had to come up here. And he'll, with his diet, it makes his stool very soft. And he holds it in, so it makes it complicated. It's just tricky, but his mom has a changing pad as if he's like 6 months old, and I'm going to lay him, now mind you, he's 140, just lay him down on the bathroom on the pad, and he's got his little legs up, and I guess I'm treating him like a baby, wiping him up and cleaning him up, flipping up a pull-up, rolling him over to pull the pull-up up. Wow, he's playing his video game. No, not I. So he stands up. We get it done. Let 3 people come in the last time I changed him, so you can see what I'm doing, so you will know what to do, so you won't call me because you are watching me, so you should know what to do. So there's this guy, the lady that identifies as a lady, that's that lady. So So white people, I noticed, look at our kids like little projects or little things or something that takes your mind away from your slop in your life. Because maybe you look at it like, at least I'm not him. So this little boy is one. The white male or the white male that identifies as a female. I just love him so much. Oh, I just want to, he's so cuddly. He's so, I could just squeeze you, squeeze. Oh, I love this. I could just do this all day. I could just sit with you and chill all day on your iPad. Yeah, man, this is cool. And then whomever the other pair is that's in there with him, whomever it may be, he's just talking them to, or she's just talking them to death. So they're talking about all their personal stuff around this child with these earphones on and just squeezing them up and touching them up. So the little boy bit him or her on Friday because this person is trying to make him go upstairs. He wanted to play, and since they don't know how to get the boy to do what they need, and I'm only with him twice a day for 30 minutes, and it's for different stuff, I can't help. So the little boy is using all that weight, throwing him, bit him on the leg, left the school. This man had to turn into the man and jump out there, and none of that frail skirt stuff. He had to roar and jump out there and get the boy because the boy done left the school. So, but they think they have him. So it's the other pair that he has. He just throws her around, just flings her around. And she does it. He pulls hair. I had to show some other gentlemen how to, when they have your hair, how to release their hand from your hair because these people aren't even CPI trained. So it's just a whole disaster. So white people came yesterday to observe this and how it works because we're really doing too much or we're going past what we have the capability of doing, taking this child. We've turned the whole technology hub into a room, a daycare room for him. The young man that bit me behind the technology, I push him in. I've been pushing him into his general ed class every morning. So I pushed him in today. We go every morning. So I pushed him in that day. He didn't want to go. He only stayed in there for 1 minute, popped right on out of there, and then wanted to go back in there and watch the little boy on his iPad. So the case manager said, no, you can't stay in here. You either go in your room, like go in his office, back in that room, or go to the classroom you were just at, but you can't stand here. Well, he's like, I hate you. And she's like, okay, that's fine, but you can't stand here. Now, she didn't have to get in it, but it is her case, so she can do what she want to do, and she is credentialed higher than me. I'm just a little helper. So I let her do whatever. She created a whole behavior. He didn't went in that room. She threw him, put him in the room. So, of course, if you put him in the room, I have to block the door because what do you put him in the room for if I'm not keeping him in the room? So now I got to stand in front of the door, which I don't like. So now he's mad at me. He's tearing up stuff. So now he wants to bite me. So I'm not letting him bite me, but she's looking through the window because there's a window. So she's looking through. She's like, I want to help you because, I did start it. Black lady, yes, she did start it, and I do understand all of this is overwhelming for you. But you got to take into consideration that this child is suffering because you have this other child in this room playing his, because he'll play it loud. He'll have his earphones on too, but he'll still have the earphones off and still play his sound, and it's up to 10. And this child is just watching. He's watching him repeat, because you know how sometimes the children on second, they'll just repeat. So they repeat everything they're watching, just rewind. So he's watching them do that and just standing there. Now he's even playing with the toys that are set out for him just because he's trying to engage in this space. So I'm locking him in the room. He's fighting, knocking everything off of the shelves, throwing everything all over the place. He's screaming and hollering. So the teacher had to come in there and help. He's like, I don't want to go in the room. I don't want, all this stuff. So he ended up going to sleep. Mind you, it's 9:30 now. I don't see him again until 1. He slept the whole day. And I told the BCBA that afternoon after school because I'm upstairs, so I'm next to her office, so I let her know what happened. So we created this schedule to where he'll earn iPad time if he does whatever it is he does. Say, for instance, he does not just staying safe because that's kindergarten goals. If he does just regular academic goals. Maybe he can get 10 minutes after every hour or something, and then at the end of the day, he might get a 30-minute block. He hasn't gotten it yet, because I haven't started the goal yet. But that even today, the little boy went to sleep at 9:30 as soon as I left, and didn't wake up till 3 when it's time to go home. That kind of stuff. So with the male that identifies as a female, she's a little agitated with me because I kind of do take charge of whatever it is I'm doing, and I do think that you kind of encroach on this little boy's space, and now the boy is recognizing that he might not be a lady because he starts smelling up under his arms, and then the guy, oh, God, he's smelling my armpits. Yeah, I'm really sweaty because of you. So then the guy, but he's trying to figure out what's different about you. And then you got these boobies stuff going on, so he's grabbing at the boobs. And, I just walked by and started laughing. So he's like, what is it? What, you want a hug or something? You want a hug? You mean hug? So he's grabbing the boobs, trying to figure out what's going on. You sound like, Oscar the Grouch, and you got this. So he's squeezing at the little boy, squeezing at the boobs from the back, because the guy is straddling him so the guy is behind him. The baby's in the middle, and then there's someone else on the other side. So the boy is reaching in the back behind him, grabbing the guy's breast. So the case manager came in a half hour later. I just love this boy. I just hugs, cuddles, and just squeeze. I can squeeze him. And so the little boy started grabbing them boobies and about to rip them off. So the teacher was like, he's attacking you. I think you should leave. Oh, okay, let me go. So the little boy is tripping. So when his other parent came a couple of days ago, came back, and she was gone for 2 days, he kind of lightly smelled up on her arms. Oh, yeah, you a girl. You cool. Come here, give me a hug. But that man one, the lot tricky. So I'm going to mute myself. But I just wanted to share a little about the big boy. His mother doesn't want anything for him except for comfort. She does not want him agitated. She doesn't want anything but him comfortable, and you can change him if he lets you. And give him all his food, all his bacon, all his cheese, all his little bitty shots of water. Give him all that junk. That's all his. And I'll mute myself. Thank you.
Bacon and cheese, she said. Now, I remember the first time when I heard, I said, dang, did I hear that correctly? 140 pounds? Because these are not like high schoolers or anything. They were taught, I think she said he's like 14 or something. I mean, these are not.
He's 8 years old, guys.
Oh, my Lord. Woo! 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 I added on 6 years. Lord. Man. 140 pounds in the 3rd grade? I bet a lot of his teachers on 140 pounds. Whew, man. Strive for accuracy. 8 years old and 140 pounds. That's what they talked about, the epidemic of childhood obesity. There you go, right there. Right there. And shouldn't be no mystery. She said bacon and cheese. Now, I can't look my nose down at anybody because Gus T, hey, I done had, a few dozen bacon cheeseburgers. So, sometimes they put that on pizza sometimes too. Because see, they got the bacon cheeseburger pizza too. So, man, hey, I can't look down my nose at anybody. But I am saying, man, bacon and again, damn it, they are in, we just said, wine country. Marin County, got my pronunciation correct. I went to the farmer's market in San Francisco, other side of the bay. They could have went to Berkeley Bowl, or they could have went to the farmer's market in Berkeley, Oakland, easy. I went to the farmer's market, I think every week while I was in California, in the Bay Area. I went every week. You could get yellow watermelon, cherries, grapes, all kinds of grapes. It's like, oh my God. Peaches, bacon, and really you can get gourmet cheese too. But bacon and cheese. Come on. That's bad. You got white people there who do not weigh 140 pounds. Like, they know the importance of nutrition. They just got the California. They were leading the charge to get the, let's not have the red dye chemicals in the food. That's bad for the children's brain computer, in addition to them weighing 140 pounds at 8 years old. Nothing. And even the mom, I guess, even if they did want to do all this, the mom has said, no, you know, what she wants. Hey, wow. Children having children. I don't know. I mean, hey, victims guaranteed qualified, and I don't have any children, but in a system of white supremacy racism, I don't think the goal should be to have your child be comfortable, happy. I just don't think that that is a constructive goal, especially if that's going to result in them weighing 140 pounds at 8 years old, and then they can't even, you know, take care of their bowel issues and such. Like, that doesn't seem comfortable, sanitary, happy. Like, how much fun can you have if, I mean, just being constipated alone, bacon and cheese, you might have some constipation issues. Just saying. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot of fiber there. And anyway, and then you're holding on, you know, Dr. Rasayan, to answer nature's call. Like, that is really bad, to be holding and all. I mean, that's just so unhealthy in so many ways. Like, to what end? And for how long is this supposed to go on? And then it seems we've heard from like a number of students who have all of these bowel and stool issues at the school, and there is like no plan at all to deal with any of this. It's just, you know, get through it the best way they can for the day. Like, what in the world? Like, everybody, I'm not even putting blame on the staff per se, although sometimes they could certainly do a lot better, but parents as well. You know, it's a lot of blame to go around, white people being most to blame. But man, children having children, the 5 iPads, I have no idea how that's benefiting anyone or going to benefit this child, you know, in a system of white supremacy racism. I don't even think that's realistic to have all these iPads just to kid. Then what are you watching? Have all these devices for what? To look at all this white supremacy content, Disney this and Mickey Mouse this, and man. Baby, I wrote that down too with Dr. Wells, saying like, we are definitely not men. We are boys. Even if we weigh 140 pounds, boys. Wearing a diaper. Babies, really. Wearing a diaper. Man. She said she's, you know, trying to be, and I've heard this before, where she's trying to be one, you know, what, are you serious? This is what we're going to do? We don't have lesson plans and things in place. I think she said they had the behavioral plan was last done sometime in June when school ended. It's almost September. For the school, we got all these people who got all these years invested in studying the art pedagogy, the art of teaching children, the art of teaching learning, the science of learning and teaching. You got all these years of experience, and we ain't got no updated plan. At least what we gonna do for the summer? Bacon and cheese. That's about bacon and cheese. And the water, drink, whatever. This probably got the red dye number 40 and sugar. She said the contempt for gender, which we talked about before, and the little fella sounded like just confused. What is going on here? What is going on here? And, that she talked about having staff who gets, I guess, self-conscious about all this. Might be the same person that Bay Area mom has misgendered. See, sound like she was about to make that charge. What are you doing? Misgendering? What are you doing? What are you doing? You and Bay Area mom? See? Discriminating against me? I cannot imagine the confusion. This is the same location. I think they were doing all that aggressive promotion of Pride like 2 months back, because that's a big deal in like San Francisco and the Bay Area. But they were doing that, real aggressive promotion of all of that. Like, oh my goodness, the convention. We don't even have the basics covered. I can't even read correctly, and you talking about we got to go and do all this and contempt for gender and. Almost and accused me of misgendering. Misgender? What does that? What? What is with? Oh my God! When you play around with sex, buddy, I don't even know what's the best you can hope for. I'm 140 pounds, 8 years old, wearing a diaper. My instructor, contempt for gender. I'm just confused. Like, what? 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 Oh, my gosh. Man, when you play around with sex, there you go. That's what you got right there. Is that what we are going to continue to perpetuate, 2026 and beyond? Throw away offspring. Whew. Much obliged, Bay Area mom. She said it looks as though some of the white women, or maybe many of them, all of them, I don't know, they look at us, we are some sort of project. Neely Fuller Jr., he told us, he said, man, we talk like the projects is over there, over yonder, the bottoms, in Oakland. No. We, individual Negras, Lakeisha, Leroy, you, I, we are the projects. That's what they see in the schools, just a little Negra project here, a little Negra project. That's how Mary Kay looked at Veely. Anywho, much obliged, Bay Area mom. The little fella that they not on any sort of same thing, where it's just no sort of guidance at all from a adult figure looking out for this child's development and well-being in a logical, scientific way. Like, I don't know if you need to eat bacon and cheese all day, every day. Maybe not at all. Certainly not a regular diet. I mean, Gus T's tubby, but he had all his bacon cheeseburgers. You don't need to start that path. Amen. They got the other child, she said, sleeps until 3. Like, what? And that's another one we've heard before. They said the little fellow used to go in his office, in quotes, and would lie down. Another one where just, what kind of sleep schedule? Like, what? We just stay up all night watching TV, playing video games, eating crazy food. You ate all that red dye number 4 and sugar, so you might have a difficult time going to bed, not to mention being constipated. If you stay up all night long, go to bed at 9 in the morning. Like, what? What? That's time we're supposed to be going to work. And heard that before. I'm so tired I can't even, focus. Now, that same thing, man. I mean, dang. Why have these children and not be vested, like, at all? I'm not vested. Fuller said that's like basics of counter-racism. Sleep correctly, eat correctly. You got a whole generation of children. None of that. And I mean, for generations, we've been eating terrible and bragging about it. Call it soul food or whatever. but we've been eating bad for a long time. And I suspect now with all of the devices and such, because now you got about at least a good generation or so. I mean, I can't go to the bathroom without my, iWatch and phone and all the rest of it. So, man, not enough rest and not adequate nutrition. Disastrous consequences for growing victims of racism. Take parenting seriously. Take parenting a black child, non-white child, super serious. Maybe the most serious, important thing in your life once you have non-white offspring. Hey, this is super duper serious. Anyway, much obliged, Bay Area Mom. The number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Again, not for spectators. Let us know if you have thoughts, observations. If we have entrepreneurs, non-white, do you have a white business partner? Do we have entrepreneurs, non-white? You don't have a white entrepreneur. Have you thought about this? Has this come up before? Did people, once they found out, I'll go, man, I thought this was just another white person's business. You got, whoa. We got some Negro or whatever, non-whitey person, and, ooh, I was about to give you all $10,000 in sales, but now, I don't know. I'm going to have to see if I can get my friends to make sure we don't patronize you. Has anybody else encountered that as a non-white business owner? Let us know. Once again, no hiding from the system of white supremacy in labor or any other area of people activity. Let's see. Give folks a moment if they're spectating. We'll be here on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Catherine Massey Book Club, 9th installment on Mary K. Letourneau and Greg Olson's If Loving You Is Wrong. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Again, anyone in some sort of position where you are a mandated reporter. So you see Mary Kay and Veely out sweating, riling things up in the van. Report. I don't want to snitch. Report. And like I said, you don't have to go in. And I knew that no count Mary Kay Heifer was a rapist. And you don't even have to say all that. Just, yeah, I suspect, I hope it's nothing. It could have been a medical emergency. I don't know. But I saw she was there. Young student was there. It at least looked bizarre. I thought warranted a further look. Just to let folks know what I saw, and then you all can investigate and see, if there's anything to it, or if it was all just, an innocent day on the plantation, which it may very well be. Bang, there you go. You report, and we move forward. That way, they don't say, I'm in cahoots. Me and Mary Kay was out here grooming children and working together. Leroy ain't have nothing to do with no Mary Kay and no children, because soon as Leroy observed all of this, Leroy reported, and not, with suspicion, accusations. Just, hey, let's make sure everything is good. Everybody is good, safe, especially me. And then we move forward like, hey, that's beautiful. If that had been done in the Mary Kay Letourneau case, Veely could have been saved a lot of heartache. They maybe could have excused all of those pregnancies when he was 12 and 13 years old. Maybe. that old Mary Kay was a tough child rapist, but maybe they would have had a chance, maybe. Anyway, we'll be here Saturday, compensatory call-in, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll catch up on news from the past 7 days. Incidentally, there was one report I was going to share for Neutralizing Workplace Racism, but I think I'll save it and discuss it for the compensatory call-in. They had a grocery store in the Kansas City, Kansas region, and the grocery store went out of business. Now, this store was supposed to be operated by the state state of Kansas to serve people in the region who live in what they call a food desert, a place where they don't have grocery stores. You have to drive a long distance to get produce, things to eat, things of that nature. So this store was supposed to, profit is not the motive. They called it a socialist store because it's state-owned, which ironically we talked about on the Cows about a year and a half ago. We had a white guest. We were talking about cannabis, and we were talking about cannabis dispensaries, and we were talking about different models for how these cannabis dispensaries operate in the U.S. compared to other parts of the world. And just as an aside, our guest said, hey, call me a loon, but since we could open up state-run cannabis dispensaries that would not be about profit, they would just be about making sure that people get quality controlled cannabis, and then the state could regulate it and what have you, make sure that people aren't going crazy with how much they get, and to make sure that it's not tainted, contaminated, blah, 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 whatever quality checks people want to have. There you go. That would be a different model than what we currently have, where it's all these private businesses and blah, blah, blah. But she said, as an aside, it was, as opposed to all of that wackiness, we could have state-run grocery stores where people could go and get organic produce, blueberries that have already been picked, the peppers that Pedro and Miguel picked. They could go and get that, and it could even be organic, and it might be at a better price than what they currently have at Piggly Wiggly, Whole Food, Amazon Fresh, Publix, Safeway. You get the idea. We could have that, but we don't. They did in Kansas City, Kansas, and now it's closed. And they give the reasons why, but it reminded me, Neely Fuller Jr. in Washington, D.C. Now, I said the one in Kansas City is state-operated, but it's closing down. The one, Mr. Fuller in D.C., this was a allegedly black-owned grocery store, Mega Foods in Washington, D.C., and he said it went out of business super fast. We will throw you, the lemonade stand, the grocery store, whatever enterprise you want to start, black boys and girls, all of it is overboard in 30 seconds. And you. And you. But he talked about that with the Mega Foods specifically. He said it was super nice, clean, great quality produce, and it was out of business. Didn't even last 5 years. No time for a grocery store. And he said that they hired black children and all the rest of it, but out of business. That's what it reminded me of. I have to hear exactly what the reasonings as to why they say that this space failed. But I know at least this week alone here in Seattle specifically, one grocery store closed in Lake City Way, and the other was a little bit outside the Seattle area specifically, but still Puget Sound area. But 2 different grocery stores closed, they said, because of crime. So folks were very upset about all of this. I don't know if that's going to make a food desert for some of these white people where they live in that region, but they did just talk about that, and there have been a lot of stores that Target and other large big box stores that have, at least the reasoning that they have been giving is crime, unsafe, employees don't even feel safe coming to work. I think that might have been involved in the situation in Kansas as well. So that's something to think about as well. Your work environment is it safe in terms of in every way? The people that come there to do business or come there to terrorize, and what's happening around the business. So when you leave and it's time to go to the parking lot, I know the caller at the courthouse in Florida has talked about people, saying that they were accosting court officials, employees, and such as they were going to the car or trying to get from the car to the courthouse, that sort of thing. What is that environment like? Is this someplace where you got to have your head on a swivel, and I might need to get me a concealed carry or at least a good strong, can of bear mace? Somebody jumps out, bow, get them and skate to the car. I don't wear no heels to work because I might have to sprint, make a mad dash to the vehicle, or, what sort of environment am I coming into in the workplace? And the same thing I said before, it's nice and bright and sunny now. Basically, when you come into work, if you come into work anytime, I'd say probably after 5:30 a.m. anywhere in the U.S., and then as long as you leave anytime, I would think before 7 p.m., even now in late August, it's probably still going to be light and sunny, bright and sunny, wherever you happen to be in the U.S. I'm way up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's after 7 p.m. The sun is still shining brightly on my plants throughout the Seattle landscape. I think it'll be out there for another hour or so. So, if that might be the case now, same thing I said before, and Fuller talked about this too, I guarantee you when we get to December, you can come, and I know for Seattle specifically, December, man, you can arrive at 8 a.m. It will be dark. You could leave at 3 p.m. and it might be dark. Very different environment, and so the safety hazards might be totally different because your visibility is so much lower and all that. So keep all that in mind. Woo. Safe, and if it's not safe, then you have to make a code for that. If you're going to walk out in pairs, if someone is coming to pick you up, man, be right in front of the front door. Have the vehicle doors locked. You unlock them when you see my face coming out of the building and it looks like nobody is behind me with a shank, mug me, and then dive in the car or anything like that. You unlock and we peel out quick. You want to know if that's the sort of environment that you're in? Hopefully not. That would be something to think about too. Like, I don't know how long I want to stay here. Like, woo, the derelicts they got in the parking lot, and man, I get afraid every time I go to park out. That would be something to, consider. Anyway, let's see. Other folks that have commentary to share, *61. If we missed you totally, let me see. There was a quick, I'll give a quick one, and I will nab our caller at the courthouse and the other folks who dialed in too. There was a quick report in the Denver Post. Jury awards $20 million to nurse fired by Aurora Hospital in discrimination case. It reads, a federal jury in Colorado awarded a black nurse $20 million this week after determining HCA Health 1 Aurora fired her because she had complained about the racial discrimination she faced on the job. Don Quinick Joppy, D-O-N, capital Q-U-E-N-I-C-K, last name J-O-P-P-Y, alleged the hospital, then known as Medical Center of Aurora, wrongfully blamed her for a patient's death from natural causes in 2019 as an excuse to fire her after she complained about mistreatment from white coworkers. The patient, a 94-year-old man who was experiencing organ failure because of an infection, died after his family agreed to turn off his ventilator. Joppy, who had stayed past the end of her shift in the intensive care unit, followed directions from a respiratory therapist to shift off the ventilator, according to her 2022 lawsuit. The Colorado Attorney General's office filed manslaughter charges against Joppy in November 2020, then dropped the case in September 2021 in the interest of justice. The hospital pushed for her prosecution. Jesus, Swango, Christ! I'm just for the people, Catherine Massey Book Club. Michael Swango killed an untold number of people throughout the world, not just in the U.S., throughout the world. I don't even know how many people he killed. No hospital pushed for a police investigation. They did the exact opposite. Stonewalled. We're not going to know snitching. Continuing. The hospital pushed for her prosecution and sent incorrect information to the State Board of Nursing, effectively ending her chances of getting another job in the field. Joppy sitting there, see that sort of thing right there. They sent in, what we say, strive for accuracy. When I said little fella in California, he was 140 pounds and 14 years old, and Bay Area mom said, shut the hell up, Gus. He was 8. I didn't say, man, who do you think you're talking to? This is Gus T. Renegade. I am the Black King. You don't come on here and correct us. Man, my fault. Thank you for correcting me. Strive for accuracy. 8. They sent incorrect. And hey. This is serious. It's not quite as serious as having non-white offspring that's going to be classified as black, but man, you don't want this person to have their career's over. We intend to end your career. Every I should be dotted, every T crossed, every date totally accurate. What do you mean? You sent false? Did you lie? Because that would be my thinking. White people don't get the benefit of the doubt for nothing like this. You went out to effectively lynch, metaphor, but I mean really. You went out to destroy this black female, and you don't even have correct information? You just went out to lie because white people do it? Whew. Fuller say that's the primary method of racism right there. Come on. I'm not the first nurse to go through this, but I pray I'm the last. Now, Health One said in a statement that it strongly disagrees with Tuesday's verdict. Let's see. I wanted to see what about the white people mistreating her prior to all of that. If she has, she said, let's see, the Discrimination Act. The discrimination at HCA Health One Aurora is a symptom of deeper racism in health care and in the country as a whole, Joppy said. Hopefully the verdict will encourage people to examine themselves and work on rooting out their biases. No way. We are sick people, she said. Racism is a condition here in America that needs to be treated and healed. Well, victims guaranteed, Miss Joppy, but racism is a global, if not universal, system of domination of everybody whom white people say is not white. It is not just a problem in this geographic location. And those people classified as white, they certainly are not looking to examine and root out their racist practices. They are refining their racist practices. You saw some of it right there. They sit up and mistreat you and do all that and then get to the end and say, whoa, Miss Joppa, you done killed this old 94-year-old white man. Ought to be shamed. You fired. See, that's the refinement, see. Let's see. Our caller at the courthouse. You have commentary to share, should be with us as well.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. Gus, I have some more reports I'd like to share. I've been observing some detailed things with some of the black customers. Now, I've noticed one of the people, I'll just call her a white person, on 2 separate occasions, she would come by and say, oh, well, would you like to have a seat? to one of the standing black people, individuals, it could be like a couple that was just maybe standing there for a few seconds, and the two other desks, I don't see her or anybody really do this. So, I'll offer if anyone wants to have a seat or whatnot, but I've noticed this person will do this and has been doing this maybe like the last 2 weeks. That was something that I hadn't really seen be done before. So I don't know if this, like a couple things have been the result of conversation, maybe the things that I've said. There was another customer that came in where, of course, where one of the sheriff officers, a white man, a race soldier, came in after one time a black female came in to get a copy of something, and she came back in and asked if I could help her again. So I said, sure, come on over. This white guy, he comes in and he says, ma'am, you're going to have to stop using curse words. You're going to have to stop cursing. And she says, well, okay, I don't remember doing any cursing. And so he starts to, walk away. But I think he was trying to, get a reaction out of her. So I was trying to get her to focus on what I was speaking to her about. So she still was commenting on him approaching her, saying, see, they're always trying to start something or something like that, she said. So he just looked at her and just ended up walking away. So, I ended up helping the person out, victim of racism. And I just noticed how the white coworkers, a lot of the time, on passing, or they just happen to be in the area, or they're working in the area, they react differently, or they show their racism when it comes to just black people doing the slightest, or if they maybe have something to say that they think is going to, cause some kind of reaction out of themselves or something, it's not the same as if a white person is in there doing something or saying something, insulting to somebody or making some kind of comment. They don't react the same way. There was a white woman that came in and said one of her children, she said, an officer up in Georgia said to him, had pulled him over, and while trying to, write down some information about him, it says, "Oh, you're not going to tell me that you're white. I do not think you are white. You got to be joking," or some comment like that she was relaying to me. This race soldier said to her son, indicating that he's non-white or whatever, and says that, he lives in Orlando, and, this officer said that I don't think that he's white. You can't tell me you're a white person, making comments like that. That was something that occurred a few days ago. And I also wanted to report that it looks like they hired the black male who was being interviewed last week, and they put him in the area, the juvenile area, to go do court and everything. Where over in the juvenile area, they just had somebody black go and report the white manager over there for not training her on some things that they were training a new white person or a white person who's been transferred 3 times, but yet she's in the same department and hadn't gotten any kind of updated training. And a white person who took the position of the white woman warden, he, from my understanding, communicated with the white guy, the white manager, and said that, hey, such and such just sent me an email and she's going to come talk to me, and what I think was some unjust networking. And before this white man and the black victim had a conversation about how he's been treating the black female victim and not, giving her any kind of new training in the juvenile department. So a victim of racism said to me that he was walking around, looked like he was displaying some anger or whatever. Like he went to another department and was speaking with another white person about how to handle the situation or something. And I think this happened again with a white woman who was in another department, domestic relations, went and had a conversation with him based on a conflict that she had with a black person. So they definitely are having these little kind of click communications, unjust networking, probably texting each other and things like that, as I've shared. And just one last thing, Gus, I wanted to send you a couple of images. Some of them are pictures from the passports that we take, and the comparison of when a white person or, white man, white woman, white child can just, can give like a plain look or not smile at all. They even will say, I do not want to smile. The children will say, I don't want to smile. And the black children or the black people will be treated in ways to where they're kind of forced to smile, from what I've shared. And there's also the picture where they had the sovereign citizen training, and I haven't really heard any updates on that. And there's one last thing I wanted to mention where a victim of racism felt like she had to take a photograph with some white people because they were wearing the same type of clothing or shirt or whatever. And she just, from my understanding, felt like she did not want to take the picture because, as I mentioned, they really do like to use pictures to to make it look like there's an issue with racism in the workplace. And other than that, that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Definitely going to be in the newsletter. With the white woman, where you said it was, it seemed like, or at least you have a suspicion that this is maybe in response to something that you said to her previously, where now she goes to check to see if the black people want to get a sit down. Like, what did you say to her previously?
The main way I've reacted to it, I just said thank you. I appreciate that. But just writing it down and taking notes on it, I just noticed she hadn't done it with, other customers or at any other times, even if there was black people at the other two desks, you know. But I haven't seen her do it within the last couple of days.
Interesting. Yeah, that's being mindful of how folks are functioning in the workplace and patterns that you can pick up just seeing what they do on a daily basis. Dig that. Let's see. The white, or I guess the black female comes in, is like, oh man, you were helpful, and maybe I can come through your line. Sure thing, come on through, blah, 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 blah. And he said, the white fella comes and says, oh man, you have to stop all that cursing. He said, you know, I wasn't cursing. What's going on here? And he said, I'm just de-escalate, just focus on, let's just stick to the task. It seems like this race soldier is just, you know, trying to get folks riled up and maybe get her to chimp out, as they say. Even that, like, now come on in. One, that's what I just said. Master deceivers, number one method of practicing racism, lie. Now she's here on business or what? I don't think she came down to the courthouse for no prank. I think he said, you know, I call her. He said, oh man, I came through your window before. Maybe I'll come again. You were really helpful. Like, sound like she wanted to get something done and get it done quickly, so she'd go about her business, not to come and get involved in no false charges and lying on me for no reason just to get around. And I mean, if you're a black person out in public and you're at the courthouse, they do have bailiffs and all the rest of it, and someone says something like that to you, oh man, what if, you know, the bailiffs, sheriffs or whatever, had heard that and just assumed that, oh man, you in here cursing out our staff? What's wrong with you? Get your act together. I got my nigger. I mean, that especially if that had been some black brother, privileged black male in there, and you've been accused falsely of being mouthy, having a potty mouth to boot. Like, oh man. But bravo, de-escalate, ma'am. Just focus right here. We're gonna get through it. He's practicing racism. Don't even worry about it. Let's see. I was stunned. We talked about it last week as an act of racial showcasing. The black fella that they brought in, because we even thought, dang, maybe they're just making a point of walking by the colored section. Like, yes, Leroy, look at this. See, all your cousins, see. We do hire you. This is where you'll be at. And we thought they weren't even going to hire him, just to show like, oh, yeah, see, we do interview Negro males. They just aren't up to par. They hired him. Shame on us. Now, hopefully, maybe he can break our caller's mother's record. Maybe he'll work there 25 years, 30 years, get all kinds of promotions and, you know, the whole nine. Maybe. We'll wish him the best. He said that they placed our newly hired black brother, privileged, in the juvenile area. I said, uh-oh. That might be an impediment to that 25-year work record. Said, man, I've seen the pattern. They put black people over there. He said they already got a black female over there. Said she didn't get correctly trained. That is so cliche. That is as tacky as black male rapist, tacky as slave and racist jokes. I mean, man, stick some and set them up for failure so then we can just come and say, see, I told you that Lakeisha, we should have never hired her. I told you these colored folks, you get a few of them in the colored section, but beyond that, they're like children themselves. You can't put them in charge. And that's, well, wait a minute. You didn't train me correct. Now, remember, he told us that they'll get incompetent white people and say, hey, now we're going to have to hold Peggy Sue's hand a little bit. Just give her a little time and we'll get through it. They didn't say that with her, apparently. It's this nigga woman doesn't know what she's doing. I told you these people are kind of thick, you know. You don't want too many of them. Just train me correctly. I'll do my job. That right there, along with battling the heat, that will often be the counter-racism, is getting adequate training so that you can correctly do your job. So many white people, that right there will be the counter-racism training. Let me get all the training possible so that I can do my job well to the best of my abilities. Let's see. But she put her down there, so we'll have to see. Do they do the same thing to the black dude, newly hired? Or they might even do it extra tacky, dump him off on the black female down there and say, oh, yeah, Lakeisha, she'll train you up. Lakeisha hasn't been trained. But they won't tell him that. So then when he starts messing up on the job, they say, Lakeisha, she did it again. Look here, Leroy. She has been the worst. We've been trying to deal with her for a long time, but she just messes up all kinds of people. I bet she didn't even show you the right way to do it. Lakeisha hasn't been trained. But he doesn't know that. So he'll just be upset with her. Like, yeah, she sabotaged me and tried to mess me up on the job. He said apparently now they got the white fella. He saw him. He was stomping around. And I think it was the black female not being trained correctly. And he's stomping around mad. Why is that something to be upset about? If she hasn't been trained correctly, that should just be let's get you trained. Let's see. They got a class. Let me get my schedule here. That's what that should sound like. That's not train Lakeisha. Oh, my God. I don't understand. Like, they would have to break it down for me. Like, is it $1 million to train Lakeisha? Like, break it down for me. Why is this something to be upset about? I got to go talk to a whole lot of Lakeisha. God almighty. Like, close the door. Look, can you believe it? Wow. And he said they got other white people when I got a conflict with the black boy or the black girl. We gonna go with it. You still got my number? Look out for my text. These coons, boy, I'm gonna text it. Cannot be classified as white. Be ignorant about racism. It does not work. They sit around and talk about all of the black people in the workplace, at work, even away from work, because a lot of these folks, they're doing the text messages, calling on the phone, hanging out at each other's houses and such, all that unjust networking to talk about gossip, really, about you, the Negro. Especially if you are competent, know how to do your job. Oh, man, they're going to have a whole lot to say about you, the Negro. How do we get rid of you? Likely. Let's see. Oh, and then now look here. He said that they had the black female. They forced her to take a picture. Got the cheetah print photo shoot. And he's told us about this many, many times over the years at the courthouse, where they'll have the Elvis Presley impersonation and Christmas themes and the chocolate candy bar pictures and all this old goofiness. We're going to dress up like cheetahs. That'll be fun. Now, I remember they had one. It was like a red and white striped shirt day or some other design where it seemed like all the white people, they were in the know. They had the color scheme on, and they're like, we got it, girl. You look good, girl, boy. The black people like, hey, I'm wearing brown. I didn't know. I distinctly remember that one where it seemed like, dang, maybe this is just a white people thing. They got their outfit like, all right, okay. They didn't do that for the cheetah print photo shoot. This one, they made sure all of my black brothers and sisters, they come on down for the cheetah print suit. That right there, I'm good. And I say specifically, wear the same thing every day. For years I've said, I don't mean you have to wear the exact same clothes, although it might look like it because same slacks, same top, blouse, whatever it is, same hairdo. I said, I know I'm a male. for females that might be, what in the world kind of coon talk is this? You are not trying to look beautiful and cute, radiant for race soldiers on your job. Even if you work with all non-white people, that is not the signal you want to send. You save all that for your free time. As far as the people on your job know, they see your hair one way. That's so that the topic of conversation is never my accessories, my hair, my wardrobe, my shoes. That's for the males and the females. My decor is never the focus. It's on my work and my competency. I don't want that to be a distraction, and I don't want that to be opportunity for racism. So no, I'm not doing no, we're going to dress up cheetah photo shoot. That's what you said? Cheetah? No, I don't even own anything like that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not going to buy it. I'm broke and suffering and about to be winter time, so we're about to have crazy energy bills. So yeah, I don't have a cheetah. I wouldn't even wear anything like that to work. Doesn't seem professional.
Yeah,
Plug.
can I add something?
Yes, let's hear it.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to add. I just thought about this. One of the victims in that photograph, another victim of racism, observed that she hadn't been trained well. She hadn't been trained well either, and had been delayed on her second checklist from the same white guy, and she hadn't really been speaking about, well, not really mentioning racism or just being treated correctly the same way everybody get treated the same. And this person made the comment that I feel like they are trying to set me up. That's how she verbalized it to another victim. She said, "You know what? I feel like they're trying to set me up." So that, you know, that's the comment she made.
She is not wrong. Double negative. Yeah. Yeah. And that happens so frequently in the workplace, and it's about that training specifically where they do intend. I said, just let's see what happens with Leroy, the fellow that we thought they weren't going to hire. Let's see what happens. Who do they get to train him? Maybe the white fella steps in, do it, and he'll just be incompetent and mess it up himself. Or they'll get one of the black people who was never trained, and then they can blame it on the black person. Maybe even get them to all fight amongst each other. But that is standard operating procedure. We are not going to educate. We don't even want niggers to read, much less, properly train them. Like, what? What? Oh, no. And my thing is, if you can't come and talk to me about serious things, like let's make sure we can train you so you can do your job correctly, not get fired, not get thrown out of here, maybe get a promotion, raise. If you don't want to talk to me seriously about that, don't you dare come. Look at here, Gusty. We're thinking about doing the zoo thing tomorrow. Yeah, we want you to be a part of it. We already got the shirt in mind and everything. It's going to be amazing. We got this kind of zebra theme, so it's going to be white Negra, and want you to come in and be like, are you? It does not get any better than tacky. And like I said, that's going to be front page in the newsletter. Courthouse goes to the zoo. And then they go. Come on, man. It's 2025, man. Let's do correct training. What I would like more than being plastered all over the newsletters is, you see, we're not racist. Look at that. Didn't we show some love? Look at that. Interracial, too. Look at that. Zoo. No, what's better than all that? training. Maybe I can get a hey, maybe I can break the record. I get trained correctly. Maybe I'd be the one that's working here 25 years. That's why we don't train you correctly. So you don't gonna be here no 25 years. And see that, but she is totally that is set up to fail. And that's when I'm big time. Make sure that it's in writing. You get hired on a job, you are supposed to be trained. That doesn't mean you come in to the company ignorant, don't know how to do nothing, but I mean, dang, they have training for new hires, especially if it's something that is very technical. They have a specific way that this company wants the work done, and or other skills that you'll need to learn to do this job well. You'll need to be trained. That's pretty much every field, especially all the technology and complexity of a 2025 world universe. White people don't like training Negroes, making us use our brain computer. Fascinating. If we have other folks' observations to share before we wrap up, *61 questions, what we've heard, let us know. Either entrepreneurs and or do any other black people, did they do that to you all? Try and pull you into some photo shoot nonsense for the workplace? Do they do that to any other folks? No photo shoots in the workplace. I cannot say it more stringently. No, that's if you're a model or something and that's part of your job, okay. But I mean, if you're an attorney, if you are an automotive mechanic, a nuclear physicist, you drive the school bus. You did not come, oh, wait a minute, I brought all my outfits today. Are we doing our photo shoot today? Like, what? What? That's not what I even signed up for the job. Like, I came to do work, not a lot of foolishness. Cut down on the food. That's, why I say stay about business and work in the workplace, because once you deviate from that, oh man, now we are allowing for, we're going to do the cheetah photo shoot at the courthouse. At the courthouse, man. People come here, passports. People come here and get their parental rights terminated. We got the cheetah jungle photo shoot. Come on, man. Come on. Like, I'm a big advocate being serious in the workplace, and for me that means no, I don't do no cupcakes in the workplace. No, I'm not doing no dance routines in the workplace. I'm not doing any sort of ugly sweater. I remember they did that one too. They did the ugly sweater and they gave the award to a black female, and then they play anytime we can get the niggers in the newsletter. Let's get the niggers in the newsletter. They put her on the front page. You got the ugly sweater, Lakeisha. Woo, she's ugly too. Doesn't get any better. Not doing none of that. Not doing none of that. Even if I worked with all non-white people, it'd be exactly the same. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing Kwanzaa, birthdays, nothing. Replace white. And again, there's something real just juvenile about all it. It's almost as bad as being 8 wearing a diaper. We're not 12 and 14. We are grown people. File taxes. You're on a job. Why do we need to stop and have cupcakes because you turned 41? Or bring in cards and a whole lot of nonsense. We're not friends. We work together. One of us could be fired tomorrow. Both of us. Would we, stay in touch then? Would you send me a birthday card then? Okay, then. Like, let's get back to work, man. Like, come on. Just be courteous in the workplace. And I don't even need to know when your birthday is. I guess I could go look in the personnel files, but it's not even, relevant. Come on. Let's just get some work done and be courteous. How about that? Hey, what would be way better than a cupcake for my so-called birthday? Correct training that I only have to do one time so I can do my job proficiently. That is way better than a birthday cake that I got to sit here and wonder now, did they swango me? I mean, it looked like chocolate because they got the, but did they swango me? Am I going to eat this to find out? Just give me the training. Hey, if you give me the training, I can afford to purchase my own cupcakes. Hey, I can make my own cupcakes, and then I'll know they have not been swangoed. Any hoodles. And he put all the extra pics in, see, so I could see the cheetah photo, and they look so uncut. At least that's my view. The victims that had that, like, you can, it seemed like they had a grasp, like, these heifers are up to no good, and we in it now, and say it again.
You right on it. That's what I perceived too. Yes, sir. And the one that said that she felt like she's being set up. She's one of the black females in the photo, and the other black female, she was the one that said, I don't feel comfortable doing this, and they just want me to take this picture. I don't want to do it, and things like that. So that's accurate, Gus.
I almost want to say Gavin DeBecker, the gift of fear, but it seemed like this isn't like a like you're gonna die or whatever from this picture or whatever. At least I don't think. But man, all I can say is trust your instinct, or whatever word you want to use, your intuition. Sometimes the Creator will send you, and it might just be that a sense of discomfort. Something is wrong with this. I don't quite know what it is, and white people normally do not come and address me with a lot of enthusiasm to include me in anything. I can't even get training. But they want me to come in. They're dying to have me in the cheetah photo. I don't, Gavin, man, when you get that feeling, like I said, and it might just be, there are more questions. I have more questions about this. I don't have all the answers as to what is incorrect about this, but I know I'm not at ease about this. There's something wrong with this. Listen to that. And like I said, for the workplace, like, really, unless, Leroy, you about to get that new promotion. We want to take a picture. You got this brand new office. We can put your name up on it. Hey, I might want to take that picture. Got my name up next to the big door with the big window. Hey, that got Leroy spelled correctly and everything. I might want to take that one now. I got a raise too. Hey, or we got that bonus. Leroy got the $15,000 bonus for the quarter. And they got the big novelty check, got my name on it, spelled correctly, going to shake my hand. That way I know I didn't do nothing criminal. They're not going to come back and say I embezzled and all this. Hey, put her there. I might do that. Smile hard, too. Flossed my teeth and everything. Hey, I got the money. I'm going to have extra whitey teeth now. Yeah, I might do that. That's great. Not, it's cheetah day at the court. Are you serious? Y'all don't come and get excited about nothing else but what? We got the Christmas decoration. We won't put the Christmas decorations on the desk. We got the half-eaten bag of peanuts, peanut M&Ms. You want the half-eaten? We got the snacks that they expired yesterday, but we're going to sell them to you for a quarter piece. Now, you want the expired snacks? You don't come excited about nothing else, some trash or something trifling. And now you go, we got cheetah day at the going to be in the newsletter. It does not get, that's that right there. That's why I said, you want the were any of these people, the white chicks in this photograph, were any of them the same people who did the chocolate bar thing with the black, because that had the black people. Is any of the white people, is that the same people?
Oh, do you mean the black lasagna, the chocolate lasagna?
Is that the same one where they had the different chocolate bars? I think they had like a candy bar and a Reese cup or something, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
And that one, that's the white woman in the middle. What she likes to do is she'll practice deception by she'll write down something. Now, just put what you're gonna bring, but that's not how she want to do it. She'll I think practice racism by writing down something or bring something, and she will make something like that, like the Jeffrey Dahmer brain cake, or the chocolate lasagna, or something that we don't usually see somebody bring to the luncheons. So she is on the photographs as well.
It does not get any better than tacky, and that's the Dahmer brain, whatever. That's tacky and trifling too. And the racist, see, she sat at home and watched the Netflix special, Dahmer's Greatest Fangirl. See, and then she can come nap. That also, that would be a reminder from the creator. I did not come to eat nothing in the workplace, like nothing. I came to be serious. Let's talk about matters related to the job, our work, at least things that are constructive, no goofiness, no silliness. No, I'm not dressing up. I'm not dressing up for Halloween, or no costumes, or St. Patrick's Day, or none of that. Halloween, oh no, that's coming too with autumn. I'm not doing any of that. I'm never wearing a costume in the workplace. Never. That's why I said, really, I already have my personal uniform, where I wear the same thing. You got the same pair of slacks, 5 different pair, same blouse, whatever it is. You just wear the same basic uniform every day. Clean, all that, professional. But yeah, the total de-emphasis on clothing, and I'm not here to style and profile, and I certainly am not here for Cheetah Zoo Day. Come on. Put that in the newsletter. Anyway, we'll be here Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Oh, I didn't even see him. Victim in New Jersey, did you have commentary? I don't know. Did the cheetah print? Did they do cheetah print photos at your job too?
No, they didn't do it at my job. But I agree with everything that you said. I'm sorry, I got in kind of late, so maybe people can respond to my question next week if we run out of time. But I just wanted to ask. I had a situation at my job where everybody know I drive trucks, and we get helpers, so we get to pick the helpers, and I'm noticing that the helpers are going out with drivers based on color line. I wouldn't even say color line. I say culture lines, because there's a lot of Hispanic drivers. So a lot of Hispanic drivers a lot of times are hesitant to go out with black drivers. And I'm wondering, should the next driver meeting, should I bring this up? I think if you come to work, you come to work. You shouldn't choose who do you want to go out with and who do you don't. So a lot of times the helpers will wait till a driver of their liking comes, and so you're sitting there waiting, trying to get help, and so now it's a situation where there's a slow season, which I'm in right now, and now those same drivers who would normally rather go out with other Hispanic drivers, now they're rushing you. Because if they don't go out with anybody, they get sent home. So now it's now they're willing to go out with you because they don't have a choice. But I think that this is an issue that these helpers choose to go out based on ethnicity. And so I'm wondering, should I bring this up to the higher ups, our next driver meeting, or should I just say, hey, this is business as usual, and just don't even bring this situation up?
That is much obliged, victim in New Jersey. I'll have to give it some thought. My initial response would be I would bring something up about it because it would seem there's something unjust and wasting. I say that at the end of the programs, like not wasting non-white people's time and energy. It seems like there's some time wasting and inefficiency in the workplace. They say white people say time is money. That could be corrected if it's just whomever. You got these so-called helpers and they're there and it's their job to aid drivers such as yourself. And driver is here, let's go. And I don't privileged black. Like we're wasting time, and it could be a white person practicing racism, or at minimum we're being anti-black. Lots of that. Yeah, I would say something about that. I would probably have to think about the wording. I know the word click is used often, but people who need help are not being assisted. I don't know if people have discretion. That's a word that I love to use in the workplace and beyond. But if people have discretion, where they can kind of pick and choose if they want to help this person, or I don't like this person, I don't like the cut of their jib, or this is my friend, so I'm partial over here. Like, is this something where you just, as a helper, you just pick your friends, or is this something where, hey, I am here to aid any driver who needs assistance? If that's the case, then it should just be first come, first serve, and let's make sure, because we're wasting time. Like, gee whiz, I would think everybody who is interested in this company making money, we should not be wasting time, right? Who was going to step up and say, oh yeah, wasting time, that's the best thing to do? Who was going to say that? So yeah, I would have to, give it a tad more thought, just in terms, it would really just be about the wording. I think often just saying, and especially maybe now, if you accuse them of practicing racism against the privileged black male, that might not necessarily get you the result that you want. But if it's framed as, some of these so-called helpers, it seems that they might have discretion to just select drivers who are their friends, or they can ignore other drivers that they don't know, or maybe that they haven't worked with before, or for whatever reason. But it seems like people who need help, and who are, if it's first come, first serve, as they say, and they are not being helped. What can we do to make sure that we're not wasting time and we can go ahead and get these drivers in and out of here? Let's get things done. I think that's very reasonable, and would even seem like something that, a few steps could be taken to improve things drastically. Like, if these same people who last month, when it was busy, they would never have ridden with you and get on out of here, Leroy. Yeah. And now it's slow. Whoa, victim in New Jersey. Hey, you need help, brother? Black brother. Come on. Yeah, I would. Yes, sir.
So, to add and, give you more context, there was a helper that was fired because they was heard saying, I'm not, going out with that nigga. Now, I'm not sure if they, because, a lot of people are classified as Hispanic. They do use that word as slang. But, however, the framing of that word was taken with a level of disrespect, and it was reported to management, and that helper was fired. So I will say this: management, they will take action if that is the case. So they do have a history of taking action. If anything, if there's any kind of racial slur or, or any suspected examples of racism. So a helper was dismissed for using language like that when they was asked to go out with a particular black driver. And they said this in Spanish, and somebody who understood what they said reported this to management.
Right on, right on. Anti-blackness is widespread. Got another teaspoon of black male privilege. I don't help no Leroy's now. You got me confused. I didn't hop no border to help Leroy. Anyway, that just went further. I would say something, but it would be the same thing that I just said, and because I would want it to be as wide as possible in terms of whatever reasoning these so-called helpers are using to not aid people who need help. Because it might even be sometimes that it's people that are classified as black who are saying, oh no, I'm not going out with Leroy. And I'm black too, just, I don't like Leroy cut his jib or, whatever. However it's happening, yes, I think I probably would say something about it. And you might not even need to say racism, because if they're not saying I don't go out with Negroes every time, it might be more difficult to prove that. But I mean, that should be easily accessible if they can look at the camera footage or what have you and see, okay, we got a driver here and we got helpers here, but they're not going over here. What is the problem? Like, yeah, that's something to just, hey, you, I guess, have a degree of discretion. But I mean, hey, let's get these vehicles out of here. We all came to make money. Let's not be sitting. You can't go out with your friend every time. Sorry, like this is not grade school. We came to make money. This is a job. Like that, I think is a real easy one where something could be said, and white people in charge, probably, they could take some easy steps to observe, is this true, is this happening, and then bam, say something, whatever needs to be done to just speed things up. Why are we wasting time and energy? Like, come on. Anyway, that nobody wants to ride with Leroy. We got it. But I mean, really, that's just the job, Hold your nose for a little while. You don't have to talk about anything. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, the Brooklyn Nets gone, right? You don't have a basketball team anymore, so scratch that off. Just sit silently, You don't have to talk to Leroy. Nobody wants to talk to no black dude. I got to talk to Leroy? Silencio. Shh. Silencio. I don't want to talk to victim in New Jersey either. Silencio. Black male privilege. Woo. Anyway, much obliged. We'll see what other folks. I would say something though. I wouldn't accuse anyone of racism or put it under the rubric of racism. Just time and energy, and people are not getting help who need help, and they're on the clock. And you got helpers. Like, come on, easy peasy. Anyway, we'll be here tomorrow. Catherine Massey Book Club, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Mary Kay, and then Saturday as well. Sobriety would be best, especially in the workplace, under the system of white supremacy, racism. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other victims of white supremacy. Remind us to stop saying not all white people are racist. Stop name-calling people classified as black. Stop producing throwaway offspring to be raped by Mary Kay and stuffed with bacon and cheese. Cal signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. No problem. You're a victim. Yeah. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Mm-hmm. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.